What is up, Cowboy Nation? Welcome back. This is actually the first Dallas Cowboys in a Censor show in about 2 months. I got Space Cowboy on with me tonight. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. A bit of a Thanksgiving debacle, but hey, you know what? Everything's still fine, and we'll talk about that
All
here.
right.
So,
All right. I don't know how many live viewers we get because this was a last minute thing I decided to do. We got Travis Banks in the house, so thank you for joining, Travis. Before we get started, when you do get in here, hit like, dislike, share, leave a comment. I want more comments on the videos than we have right now. But other than that, that's about it. I got the Twisted Gorilla thing running down there. Don't forget to go there, buy a shirt, get 15% discount with Raka 15 code. But anyways, let's get started out. We'll start with fuck it. Let's start with the Eagles loss. What do you think about that today? Space.
I think that shocked me the most. I actually did not get. I only watched the last 2 minutes of the game because I really didn't care. Because it's like, hey, the Cowboys aren't on, whatever. And I was like, yo, someone tell me what's going on. I'm like, oh, the Giants are actually beating them like 3-0. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? But the thing that kind of I took away from the game after kind of rewatching it, I think that, and we talked about it before the show, a lot of the concerns about, is Dallas going to lose the East? You can squash them. Dallas is going to be fine. They will win the NFC East. It's just a matter of when. Both teams showed exactly why they aren't in that upper echelon of contending team, or hell, even playoff teams at this point. Jalen Hurts had a terrible game, and I forget who said. I think it was BJ Nix from the Star Gang podcast. He said, how people are looking at how Jalen Hurts played is how a lot of Cowboys fans think how Dak played on Thanksgiving. So little joke aside, but no, I'm not scared. I think the Eagles surprised me. I thought they would win, but they didn't, and it shows that hey, Dallas is now just one game closer and a game higher up in the East. So
yeah, like I said on Twitter, I wasn't worried about the East before this game, and after this game, it makes me worry about it even less. I never, like we was talking before we came on, this has been our worst 4-game stretch all year. Eagles had their best 4-game stretch, and I still felt like in our worst 4-game stretch, we were still better than any other team in the NFC East. Even at our low, we were still above all the other teams. So I never really, they never concerned me. Nothing about what they was doing was concerning me. They went on a little mini run there. They played some pretty easy teams, so that always helps. But I don't like bringing easy teams up. Sometimes in the past, we've got some pretty easy schedules, and people always told us, well, who you played. You can only beat who you beat. But with that said, they hadn't beaten nobody that was really impressive to me. So I didn't worry about it too much. Now I'm even worried about it less.
Right. So, I think that I had the Eagles winning too. Yeah, I had them winning too in my pick'em league, but god damn it, they didn't. Not that I care. I think what would have made me kind of turn the page on the Eagles if they had some of the opponents we faced now, like if we were playing the Chiefs and they did something, okay, whatever. Maybe it's, something coming on. But you kind of go back and you watch some of these games and it really showed and this Giants game was a prime example and just catalyst of what the Eagles look like this year. Jalen Hurts has yet to prove if he's the guy or not. And some people were coming at me saying oh, Jalen Hurts could be that guy. And I'm like, no, I mean, he still has to prove it. I think he has the intangibles, but he hasn't put it all together. He just looks like Skywalker still said it best. He looks like a running back playing quarterback, and that's no insult to him. He's a great guy, but but yeah, that's point blank. And then the Giants didn't look that impressive with Freddie Kitchens or the offensive coordinator changes. They still look like a lethargic offense. I had plenty of opportunities, and they really couldn't do anything. So, not scared. Washington didn't play this week, so can't really say much.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the East. People on Twitter was saying, well, anything can happen. Well, yeah, fucking anything can happen. But I mean, if besides anything can happen, if you're just going to what we know right now, even at us playing at our worst, it doesn't concern me. It just does not concern me at all.
Right.
But I was going to make a short video Friday, but I ended up going out of town and running out of time. And the whole point of me making a short video was over the refs. and all the bad calls that Cowboy fans were so pissed off about and crying about and bitching about, like they always do. What do you think about the bad calls in general, but specifically the Raiders game?
Um, it was, definitely a lot more than we've seen all year. But like, I think we're forgetting a couple games here. I think like you look back to I think it was the Patriots game. The Patriots game had a bunch of penalties in it that I remember, and like, so it's not like this game was the only game we dealt with a lot of bullshit. Because and that was for both teams. A lot of the times, like I'm like watching this, I'm like, well, first off, Derek Carr gets hit in the head and he's acting like he has a concussion. He's supposed to come out for a play, but he doesn't. So something's going on here. Now, again, I'm not trying to sit here and be like biased because like I'm just pointing out what happened. But you look at the rest of the league, the rest have been shitty all year. These taunting calls have been ruining everything. The roughing, this has just been an off year, most definitely. And I think that like we kind of still have that bad taste in our mouth when it comes to refs, not only just with the recency bias, considering we lost off of a penalty, which, Anthony Brown should get his head around, but at the same time, like you could argue, well, he was getting held, but I'm not here to digress that we lost, whatever. I mean, I could care less at this point. The main thing is you shouldn't be in those positions to begin with. I always say that when it comes to refereeing. Never put yourself into positions. We talk about the Dez catch, no catch. Should never have been in that position to begin with. You look at many other games. Like, I mean, you can look at the Packers game in the divisional round, 2016. Some, like, no calls in that game. Shouldn't be in that position. I'm a firm believer in that. It's nothing crazy, but definitely the refs have been bad. So,
yeah, that's about my thought. Like I was saying earlier, I've been watching football the way I do now for 31 years. When I was 17 years old in my football career, high school was over, is when I really got into it. Watched before that, but never like I didn't do now. And for 31 years, the refs have been bad, or according to us, they've been bad. So there's some overreaction. Today, I saw a tweet where somebody's saying they want the refs to get fined and be able to get fired, and I get that. We can get into that later, but they're talking about how the players and coaches lose their jobs over bad calls, and that's what makes it so bad. And I'm like, I don't know of one player or one coach that's ever lost their job of a bad call. It just doesn't happen.
No, I mean,
I don't know where that even comes from. If a coach or a player loses their job, it's because they suck. It's a history of a lot of shit that happened is why they lost their job. It's not because of one game of bad calls or a whole season of bad calls.
I mean, there's a process in place. I think a lot of people don't realize that the NFL has a process in place where each ref, when they do a game, they look at how they call the game. Now, again, our judgment for how they call the game could be different. Like, there are moments where I'm like, yeah, it's a shitty call. You shouldn't have called that. But the NFL reviews this shit. Now, again, the NFL reviewing that stuff could be terrible. Like, I can't tell you how, but I'm just explaining how it works. They review it. If the ref hasn't been doing well, they don't get extra time in the playoffs to do it, which sometimes is like, depending on how you look at it, referees like that type of stuff. They like to be in the playoff games and referee. So, but like, like there's a scoring place where they review each game they call. I do think that maybe they could do a better job at like looking at that, but I think it's more so the rules that they're made to call that I think need to be worked on. That's just my personal opinion. So
yeah, I've said that many times. We blame the refs, but like these dudes have a job of 22 dudes on the field. They each got a section, so it's not all 22. And they're doing it live. And we're judging this shit sitting on recliners, drinking a beer, eating fucking donuts. Like it's an easy thing to do. And it's not a fucking easy thing to do. They're going to make mistakes. It's a human element in the game. But this is the problem I have with the fines. People say, when you need to start fining them. I don't think people realize that most of the calls that we think are bad calls, they're not going to get fined for them. Because I know this is just me. I don't hardly ever say that's a bad call. I always say that's a ticky-tack call. It's a penalty, but you shouldn't call it. That's like it's minor, like a holding that the guy's just barely outside the box, outside the frame. It's like, come on, you gotta let that shit go. So by rule, they're not gonna get fined for that because technically speaking, that was a fucking hold. So I don't think the fines would really work. The only time the fines work is like the Saints game a few years ago. That was a bad call or no call. The pass interference against the Rams and the Saints that year, 2018. That was a horrible no pass interference call. But that typically don't happen a lot. Most of the calls that they make are ones that we as fans think they're ticky tacky or think you can't call that in that position or that had nothing to do with the play. So I don't know how much fines would actually work if you start finding. I don't have a problem with the refs getting fined. I'm just saying I don't know how much that would fucking actually help the problem because it is a human element and you're going to have bad calls. That's just like I said, for 31 years I've been watching it the way I watch it now. I've bitched about the refs. I don't bitch afterwards. I just bitch during the game. And after the game's over, like you said, I'm not going to put it on the refs. I can, for every bad call that a fan thinks is a bad call, I can name you at least 2 bad plays by a player.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, so the bad plays and the bad play call and the bad coaching far, far outweighs the reason you lost over the refs. It far outweighs it. Very seldom do you lose a game because of the refs. Now, was it too many penalties called? Yes, I think 28 penalties in one game, that's accepted penalties. 28 accepted penalties in one game, that's far, far, far too much. But overall, I don't know. The take today, I saw that fucking coaches and players lose their job because of bad calls. So the NFL needs to fix this. I call bullshit on that. I've never seen a coach or a player lose their job because of a bad call. Because if it's a bad call and he gets fired, because they're saying NFL analysts, experts are agreeing with them saying they get fired. And my thing is, if there's an NFL analyst, an ex front office person on TV saying that coaches get fired for this, then there's a reason he's on TV and he's not in the front office anymore. Because if you're firing somebody for a bad call that you know it's a bad call, the coach knows it's a bad call, the fans know it's a bad call, then why the fuck are you firing them? So again, it never happens. They don't get fired for it. And then somebody brought up Connor Williams. Well, Connor Williams lost his job, not because of bad calls, because of too many penalties. He didn't lose his job because he had too many bad penalties. He lost his job because he had too many fucking penalties, period. Which, by the way, I thought was a knee-jerk reaction. I wasn't really fond of it. I didn't like them moving him out and putting Connor
especially in the time we were doing it. Yeah. Like, it was just like, it felt weird.
Yeah, I didn't agree with it, but it wasn't because he had bad calls, too many bad calls, because he had too many fucking penalties. You can't have that many penalties. Eventually, it's going to catch up with you. So, yeah. So that I just, like I said, fans are pissed, and I get it. You lose. I'll give you an example. If we win that game in overtime, fans ain't bitching about the bad calls. They'll chirp a little bit, but you know who is bitching about them bad calls? The fucking Las Vegas Raiders. Their fans are going to be bitching about bad calls.
Oh, it was going to be.
That's how it is. It's always the person who takes the L is going to scream the loudest about the refs. The ones who win, they're going to like, bad call, blah, blah. We had to beat the refs, and you won't hear nothing else about it. It's a team who loses that's going to be pissed and blame the refs. So to me, like I said on the thumbnail, every fan base, all 32 fan bases think the NFL refs hate them. Every one of them. We think the refs hate us because we're fucking America's team and they're trying to keep us down or whatever fucking stupid reasons people come up with. And the little guys like Jacksonville Jaguars, they think the opposite. They think the NFL doesn't care about them, don't care if they're good or not, but care about us and is going to help us out because we're the NFL ratings cow. So they're trying to make us good. And then, of course, our fans say, no, it's the opposite. And at the end of the day, if you have all 32 teams bitching about the NFL refs, it means one thing. They're consistent. Consistent, bad, maybe, but at least they're consistent.
Right.
But yeah, I just, like I said, I was going to make a video Friday for it because it gets old after a little while listening to everybody bitch about the refs. And I'm like, I can name 20 fucking plays in that game that cost us the game. Fucking some bad coaching. First, us trying to establish the run for 3 fucking quarters when we finally realized, hey, maybe established run ain't working. Maybe we should stop wasting first and second downs and fucking pass the ball more. And we did, and we started moving the ball. I'm a pass the ball guy. That's who I am. I've always been that way. I believe in early down passing. I believe it should be 60% of the time, first, second down passing. That game, for some reason, we would kept trying to shove the run down their throat, and it wasn't working. And you're putting your quarterback in third and longs. That's not what you want to do.
Yeah, that's what pissed me off the most about the game. Like, people are like, we got to establish run. I'm like, stop that shit. It wasn't working. Like, listen, they tried it. It didn't work. And it's annoying when for 3 quarters, you're trying to do it. And then the one time where you let your guy air it out, he basically pulls you back into the game that you pretty much should have been ahead in, especially if you're offensively were doing better. And yeah, sure, there were moments where, like, we could have had more points on the board. I mean, for God's sake, you had freaking Greg Zuerlein miss an extra point, which maybe would have prevented overtime, But then again, that's hearsay. I don't know. I'm a firm believer in, like, just pass the fucking ball on first down. Like, it gives you better results, odds are, and statistically speaking, it's the best move. And people want to bitch at, like, Kellen Moore doing that. It's like, no, it's because it's an NFL standard at this point. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what the game has evolved to. This isn't the fucking 90s. We don't do that shit anymore.
No, that's why I tweeted this ain't the 80s. It's 2021. It's not the 80s. Stop trying to establish a run and just pass the fucking ball.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. You come out and you're passing the ball and you see the run's working and you're fucking just killing them with the run, then start reversing that a little bit. Start running the ball more. But to come out and just be dead set against, like, just we got to establish run, and you do it for 3 fucking quarters, and it doesn't work, and then you fall behind, you're like, okay, fuck, we got to pass, and you get pulled back in the game. It's like, why did you wait so late? That's what I told everybody that we waited too late. We waited too late to do something that's more efficient, and it fucked us. It got us in the end, and
especially when, like, on the last 2 drives, it took you 2 drives just to basically score like 14, 15 points. Like, it was like,
yeah,
what the hell?
But yeah, there was a lot of things went wrong in that game, and there was some. Right. There was some questionable calls. I mean, I don't never say bad calls unless they're just absolutely horrible. Like the one on Parsons, the roughing the passer. That was a bad call. Oh my
God.
That was terrible. One that I even think if they was finding the referees, they would go back and actually say, look, that was not roughing the passer. But that's about it. I mean, that's all the other ones. I thought the Anthony Brown one, that's going to get called most of the time. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that a receiver can just, like, jump into a defender because his head ain't turned around and get the pass interference call. But we see it every fucking weekend. They do it all the fucking time. And we actually got a call like that in our favor in 2014 against the Detroit Lions.
Oh,
they actually threw a flag on us. They actually picked the flag up, and it pissed everybody. I pissed off.
It was like the near exact same thing that happened in the game we just had in the Raiders. Granted, completely different circumstances, but point being is, like, it kind of nearly akin, but not like grabbing on the face mask, but like still.
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, you're going to get some calls your way sometimes. Sometimes they're going to not go your way. I always said by the end of the year, usually by the end of the game, but by the end of the year, you can go back and count all the good times, all the bad calls, and you can count all the calls that win your favor, and they're going to even out. It's just kind of how it is. Plus, we was dealing with a fucking referee crew that likes to throw a flag. I mean, they're flag happy. They had us in the. I mean, like Anthony Brown had 1 flag all year, and he's had 5, and now all 5 of his flags has been with the same referee crew. They've thrown all of his flags on him. He hasn't got a flag one more time with any other referee crew except that crew. Sometimes it's just one of them crews that just are flag happy and they call certain things, and you just you got to adjust to it. But like I said, at the end of the day, when the game's over with, my thoughts on the referees are gone. I'll bitch and yell and scream throughout the game about bad calls, or you shouldn't call that. But at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. I think we make too much of a deal out of it and try to blame the refs and act like the sky's fucking falling. My thing is make better calls. Fucking get on Moore's ass for running the ball too much. Get on McCarthy's ass for wanting to run the ball too much. Get on Dak's ass for missing some throws. Get on receiver's ass for fucking some balls. Get on a defense ass for missing tackle. I don't care, but fuck, man, the refs are last on the totem pole when I have to complain about. There's a bunch of other shit I'm going to get to before I get to the refs.
It's a sequence of events that leads me to if it's like we played a perfect game and like there was one instance where like that happened, I would be like, okay, that was like the worst thing that happened, but like, nah. So
yeah.
Like I said, I was going to make a video on it Friday, and I had all kinds of thoughts over the weekend. But like I said, I'd actually dropped it, and I won't make a video since I didn't make one Friday. But then tonight, I saw people were still talking about it. And I was like, well, fuck it. When I get back home, I'll make a video. Then that last minute, I decided, fuck it, I'll go live and fucking about the same difference. But yeah,
Right.
Stop bitching about the refs. Everything's fine. Fucking, we're fine. We'll be okay. You think they should fine the refs? What's your opinion on that? I mean, if you're going to try to fix the problem, how would you try to fix it?
Me personally, if I was like ahead of like not the competition, but like the officiating crews and stuff like that, what I would do personally is, well, first off, you need to have a universal understanding of what you're trying to call. That's the first thing. So like the problem is there's like many instances of roughing the passer, and I put air quotes on that because it's like, one crew might think, okay, if you hit him at any point in time, it's roughing the passer. Some others are like a bit more lenient with it. I think you got to first find out what is your thing with it. Go off of that, and if anyone violates that, then you kind of have to start finding them. I think that it should be like the more you F up, especially if it's the same penalty that you're failing to call correctly, it should add up. The only time it should result in a firing is if it's so many times in a season to the point where like you're really screwing up, like calling, like you're not doing your job right. Like, and that has to reach like an egregious level of things. So I think you kind of have to deliberate based off of the other crews that you have. That's how I would do it, and then go off from there, plain and simple.
Yeah, I think there should be some kind of. I mean, they do have a grading system, but like you said, it's the grade to see who goes into the playoffs and who gets to call them games.
Right. It's not like an official, like, oh, you're gonna lose your job if you keep effing up. So
yeah, but like I said, I think would be a rare instance, a very, very, very rare instance that you're going to have a ref fired, and it's not going to be too many. It's not going to be too many fines either, just because, like I said, it's just. Like there's holding calls on the offensive line sometimes that I think, oh, come on, man. Fucking that happens every play. Because if you watch football enough, you'll hear this said. You can call offensive holding on the O-line every single play. There's at least one holding that you can actually throw a flag on. So there's so many little ticky-tack ones, and they're ticky-tack, but they are technically, they are penalties. I mean, it's ticky-tacky. Mm-hmm. But they are penalties, and now we got big old Bluff City Cowboys.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, buddy? You doing all right?
Good.
Yeah. All right.
Just getting home, saw you guys were on, thought I'd come in and listen.
All right.
Awesome.
What
don't let me stop the conversation. I want to hear what you guys talking about.
Oh no, jump on in, dude. We're talking about the refs and the bad calls and our opinions on that, and how Cowboy fans cry and bitch about it all the time and want fucking refs fired and fined and fucking. I had somebody tell me today or saw a tweet today that somebody said that NFL coaches and players lose their jobs over bad calls.
Yeah,
and I'm like, dude, nobody's ever lost their job over a bad call. Nobody.
They're just not doing their job right.
Right.
Yeah. What they lose their job over is not being able to fucking minimize that and to be able to overcome bad calls, because all 32 teams deal with bad calls. Is how you overcome them. That's how that's the thing. And if you're getting fired, you're not getting fired because of the bad call. You're getting fired because you couldn't overcome penalties.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and then I had somebody say that Connor Williams lost his job because of penalties. I'm like, yes, because of penalties, but not because of bad calls. And that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about bad calls. Bad calls have never, ever cost somebody their job. Now, of course, they tell me that NFL analysts disagree with me, and that everybody's saying that, and NFL analysts are saying that people lose their jobs all the time because of bad calls. And I'm saying if NFL analyst is saying that, he's an ex-NFL analyst. So he's on TV working for Fox or ESPN telling you that. And I'm telling you, if he's telling you that, that's the fucking reason he's on the fucking TV now and not working in the front office.
Right.
Because if you're firing somebody over bad calls, then you're a dumbass. I mean, if you know it's a bad call, they know it's a bad call, then why don't you go and fire him? So nobody's ever got fired over bad calls. And I don't know where in the fuck that even came from.
Yeah. And I apologize. I was rushing to get home, so I didn't get to listen to everything you guys talked about. There aren't a lot of quote unquote bad calls.
Thank you, Marcus. I just said that too. Go ahead.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you can literally call holding on any play. You can probably call pass interference on 75% of passes. It's what the refs determine and the nature of that game. So I would probably say, and this isn't fireable by the coach, but I would take some of the blame of the penalties off of the players and put some on the coaches, because if it's 3rd and 18, and we're just talking about the play that everybody loves to focus on with Anthony Brown. If it's 3rd and 15?
It was long.
3rd and 18, I think.
3rd and 18, yeah. So why are we running cover 1 or cover 3?
Yes.
That's what pissed me off more. Was
why are we not at the marker and playing down, or running some type of 3 safety look or cover 2
especially
look?
when Anthony Brown had 3 defensive pass interference calls. Like, you know exactly how the game's going.
Right.
And the way that momentum was going, and I was telling Charlie this, is if that, let's say like they had an incompletion and Dallas got the ball back, I am firmly in the grasp that if they do their job, Dallas gets the ball back and goes and wins the game because of how the momentum was shifting towards their side.
Definitely, because we had scored really 3 touchdowns, but one of them got taken off the board because of penalties.
Mm-hmm.
But we had scored 17 points in 3 out of 4 drives or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we went 3 and out first drive of overtime, but like you said, the momentum was definitely in our favor at that point.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier when you talking about most of the penalties aren't bad calls. A lot of the penalties that we call bad calls, they are technically penalties. They might be ticky-tack, and we might say, come on, you gotta let them play.
Yeah.
But when people say we want the referees to get fined, that's why I was telling Space earlier. I don't think there's going to be a lot of fines because what we say that's a bad call, well, that's still a penalty. And the ref's the NFL is going to look at it like, maybe it was ticky-tack, but it's still a penalty.
Right.
And that's why I also told Space is that if you watch football long enough, you'll hear this. You can call offensive holding on offensive linemen every fucking play.
Yeah,
there's not a play that goes by that you can't find at least one holding call. So sometimes they call them ticky-tack ones, and I'm like, come on, dude. That's every play. You could call that every play. But it's still holding. Technically, by the rule, it's still holding. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to put a fine system in for the referees, they're not going to get fined for a lot of them calls that we think they're going to get fined for.
Right.
Because they are technically penalties. So I'm not saying don't put in a fine system, because there are some horrible fucking calls, but for the most part, you're not going to see a bunch of referees get fired or get fined because of bad calls, because they're just calls that we consider bad, but they're just ticky-tacky.
Right.
They're still penalties though.
Right.
I mean, that's like if an offensive lineman has you right here and it goes outside of frame and they call it, I'm like, come on, dude. That's every fucking play. But sometimes they're going to get flag happy and they're going to call them,
Yep.
So,
yeah. I mean, you can't really find them. The worst you can do is not put them on primetime games or playoff games. That's pretty much all they can do as the league.
And that's all they're doing right now, too. They get graded. So at the end of the year, their grades determine if they get to go into playoffs or not. So, I mean, there's not a lot you can do with them as far as people calling for the fines and firing. And I know people say, well, fucking players get fined. And
that's comparing apples to oranges.
That's 2 different things. It's right. Not the same. We're talking about 2 fucking different things. My thing is this: you want to find a referee for a bad call? Okay, fine. Then every time CD Lamb drops a fucking football, fucking ask Jerry Jones to fine him.
Yeah.
Every time Dak makes a bad throw, have a fine in there. Fucking $1,000 fine for every bad throw. $5,000 fine for every bad throw. $5,000 fine for every drop. That's what that's what I'm talking about. You can't just fucking willy-nilly go out there and start finding refs. I mean, and like I said, most of them, even though we don't like them, they are fucking penalties. They're ticky-tack and they're bullshit, and they should let them play. But it is what it is, and it's not going to help finding them.
Right.
Yeah, we agree. He was too aggressive on that one, and I'm an aggressive type of guy.
I don't mind, but not 3rd and 8.
But there are certain times that you got to lay back a little bit, and fuck. It's like the Carolina game. I mean, everybody's pissed off how he's playing defense because we was laying back that game because we had a 22-point lead going into the 4th quarter. well, fuck, you don't want to fucking let him back in the game real quick by fucking what happened the other day. Fucking playing man and getting a passing interference, a shitty passing interference call, or a big bomb for a fucking TD. So you play him in front of you. You let him have them 5-yard passes and 7-yard catches, tackle him, because the time is in your favor that time. The clock. They're not just playing against you; they're playing against the clock too. So I didn't have a problem in the Carolina game how they played. They played soft, and I'm like, fucking yes, play soft because the time is in your favor. But the other day they should have played soft because that was dumb putting Anthony Brown, or not just Anthony Brown, anybody 1-on-1. Yeah, it wasn't just Anthony Brown. And of course, everybody, as we knew,
was just a whipping boy for the game.
Yeah, he was just like I was saying earlier. He's had 5 penalties this whole year. 4 of them came in that one game.
Listen, it was the Leon Lett.
And they've all came from the same fucking referee crew. That referee crew is the one that gave him his first penalty, the first game of the year against the Bucks. He's had 5 penalties, all by Hockley. Every penalty he's gotten has been by a Hockley's crew. Oh, and he's only had 5, and that's pretty fucking good. That's not bad. I mean, because even going in this game, I didn't know that. I didn't know he only had 1 penalty all year. Because I thought, damn, that's pretty fucking good playing cornerback and you're 11 games in, you only got 1 fucking penalty. That's not bad, especially how fucking handsy they are, and especially how flag happy some of the refs are.
Space, you about to make a point about Leon Lett?
Oh no, like I put a tweet because I was actually, I said ignore recency bias. I just want to know where people were feeling. The Leon Lett play versus the Anthony Brown play, which one was worse? And a lot of people were saying Anthony Brown. Now, me personally, I think that Leon Lett's is still bad considering the circumstances. Like, it's the fact that it was blocked. It was the fact that you had the game won. It wasn't because if you really think about it, if John Foster wasn't a jackass, we probably I felt like that first time I was like, okay, I see what he's doing here. He's gonna try and keep making him kick until he misses. And if he didn't do it on that second or third time, we probably would have more game going on right now. I was kind of I was going with him, but I'm like, dude, you should stop. That was enough.
Yeah, I saw that tweet. I voted fucking Leon Lett just because that is a rule that you should know. And on top of that, every goddamn player on the field was holding their hands up saying, don't touch the ball. No other Cowboy was going close to the ball. They was all backing up on the ball. And Leon Lett just ran his ass in there and just touched the ball. That's why I said that was probably, for me, it was worse.
That's why I think it's worse.
Right. I remember watching that game at my aunt's house. I remember that game. I was like, what the fuck just happened? But yeah, that was bad.
Yeah. But no, man.
But I like I said,
enough ref talk. Yeah.
And poor Anthony Brown, he got murdered after the game by the fans.
But the fans have been waiting for that for 10 weeks, Charlie.
Yeah. Well,
Same thing with Dak.
Yeah. Yeah. I got into it with a guy in our group. I've tagged you a couple times.
I saw that. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
He's a good member in our group too. He's one of my favorite members in the group. He's been there for a long time. Hell, I think I even made him a mod one time. So, I mean, when he started bringing you and Rock into it and saying we trying to convince everybody Anthony Brown's the second best, best second cornerback in the NFL. Somebody let him know, hey, dude, they never said that shit. That was me. But I did say Marcus did ask the question one time, name me a number 2 cornerback in the NFL that's playing better than Anthony Brown right now. And that's why I told the guys, tell me what cornerback in the NFL, the number 2 cornerback, name them, and I'll destroy every one of their fucking names. And he named me one player that hasn't played all year, Marcus Peters.
I saw that.
That's why I told him. I said,
Really?
I said, that's why I told him. I said, that's a problem with fans. I said, y'all just grab the low hanging fruit, grab that bitch and run with it, and not even check if it's any good or not. It's just it.
Or they just grab straws the dumb shit.
Just
I know.
Recognize.
No, and not to go. I think I'm not sure if we were gonna go down this path. Might as well, because I think it was something that someone was gonna mention at some point. The thing with Dak Prescott, me and Charlie were talking about before the show, there is a lot of fickle people out there that overreact. Now, listen, you see his jersey right here. I'm his biggest supporter. I'll tell you, he hasn't been playing as well as he played the start of the year. Am I mad? No, I feel look, shit happens. I always say that because every quarterback goes through that. This isn't like a random happenstance. It's only happening to Dak Prescott. There are things that happen, and he didn't play well in that Denver game.
Mm-hmm.
He played very well in that Atlanta game. Honestly, he could have had better stats, but they just rested him, and he pretty much just put the game away. That Chiefs game did not play well at all. But then again, that whole thing was a clusterfuck, to be honest with you. Yep. And then the Raiders game, he really didn't get into it until the fourth quarter. But like, he at least did what he had to do. Like, if you're asking me, like, okay, what do I need my franchise quarterback to do? I don't give a shit how much I'm paying him. You need to be able to, like, sometimes pull a rabbit out of your ass, which he almost did. And I think, like, if you're going to come out here and tell me, or any of us, like, you mean to fucking tell me with Michael Gallup and what was it, Cedric Wilson, your 3 and 4 guys, you get 2 100-yard receivers, okay? And you're getting mad about like 1 or 2 plays in the game. You got to stop there. Now you're just being so picky at this point to where like it's like, were you just waiting for something like this to happen just like really come out with this bullshit again? Like, and that's just me personally. I'm not trying to be defensive for Dak. It's just I don't like seeing stupid shit. That's just me personally. And like I would say the same thing about like any other quarterback. Like if someone was telling me, well, Tom Brady hasn't been playing well, like a lot of people mentioned, well, no shit. Like if you've been watching the Bucks, they haven't had their weapons. They haven't been playing well. So stop giving me that. You know, because I know, you know what's going to happen. And I'll tell you guys this, and I'll let you guys go. I don't mean to go on forever, but, you know, just want to make this point.
Okay.
If Dak Prescott, or I don't know, if Dak Prescott ends up lighting it up, or I'm not even going to say that. Let's just say he has a consistent stat line going forward and he takes care of business, and we get to 12-5 or 13-4. I don't want to hear anybody like celebrating him, like if he ends up doing something special this year. That's all I'm going to say.
That was me and Marcus laughing. We kept clicking on the same link, trying to pull this guy's thing
on the
up.
screen at the same
Every
time.
time he clicked it, I clicked it and turned it off.
No, and trust me, I was laughing because I was about to say that. I would rather go to this shit now than deal with it going into the playoffs. And trust me, like, you're going to see someone falter, and I guarantee you it's not going to be this team because they're going through it now. You know, because, look, it's hard to win when you have, like, 4 to 8 starters out, and you're asking – so, like, don't give me that. Like, if the Chiefs didn't have Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Frank Clark, and then what's their other pass rusher? Frank Clark. What's the other guy's name?
Hell, they got all of them, and they're not doing that great. They got the same record as we do.
Like, what's funny to me is like Mahomes has had games where he just played like crap, and it's just like, oh, what happened to like where's the argument for him? You know, and again, it's like I just want consistency. I don't have a problem if you call out the quarterback. I have a problem when you're not being consistent and you're just being ticky-tacky with it. Right. That's just my personal opinion. So I don't want to hear this, but like, and I'll say it here, and when I get back on my channel, I'm going to say it there. If Dak ends up doing something, whether it's this year or further on, I don't want to see anybody celebrating this dude's accomplishments when you were jumping off the bandwagon. Don't give me that bullshit. Seriously. I'm not dealing with that anymore. You've already given us enough shit. So.
Yeah, that's just fans. They're fickle, and they do that. Like I said, and I feel bad for Anthony Brown because, like I said, he played – I say bad. He played bad the first game, but when I defended him after the Bucs game, I try to explain to people, can you name me cornerbacks who look good against the Bucs offense? Because there's just not many of them out there. They usually destroy every fucking cornerback that they go up against. Then he had, 9 weeks of fucking very good play. Then he comes out this game and he has a bad game. I wouldn't even say a bad game, just,
average.
And people in my group was like, haha, I fucking told you he sucks. I'm like, dude, like, really, you waited 10 weeks for this shit? You know, I mean, in that dude's defense, he does every once in a while, like once every couple of weeks, will say Anthony Brown still sucks. And I told him, that's the only reason you do that is so when he does have this game, you can bang your fucking chest and run your fucking dick beaters. Right. Yeah, run your fucking dick beaters like, oh, I told you so the whole time. Like, if you want to go on a 2-game sample size and tell me he's no good, that's you, not me. I'm not going on that. And to be fair, Anthony Brown's actually played above what I've ever said he was. I've always just tried to tell people he's average. He doesn't suck. When everybody told me he sucked, I'm like, he doesn't suck. He's just average.
Yeah.
And he's actually played above any. That's why I've never banged my chest
this whole season and told everybody, yeah, see, I told y'all, because I never told y'all that. I never said Anthony Brown was good. I never said he played at this level. I just always said he was average. So I can't bang my chest and say, yeah, look at me. I'm the one that fucking said it all the time. I never said that. He's played way above what I thought he could. I just never thought he sucked. I just thought he was an average cornerback. And, you know, you just there's just not a lot of good cornerbacks in the NFL. Then he named Xavier Howard. And who else did he name?
Howard for the Dolphins, yeah.
And fucking Fuller, named Kendall Fuller. And I was like, if you look at them two guys this year, just go off this year and this year only, Anthony Brown has played at least equal to, if not better than both them guys. You know, if you just go off this year, and that's all I've ever said. Right now, we've always said, name me a number 2 cornerback in the NFL that's better than Anthony Brown. And there's just not any of them out there. There's just not many out there, if any.
Another thing I wanted to bring up, because I'm watching this Rams game still, and they just lost. So they have lost.
Yeah, I thought it was
over. They lost. They lost 3 games in a row. You know, this is the Super Bowl favorite. This is the team that's going to just blow through everybody because they're the super team. They have lost. What is it? No, they've lost 3 straight. Right? Yeah, they've lost 3 straight. I thought like it was like a 4 out of their last 5. No, they lost 3 straight. But no one's going to give them shit. You know, like, and it's funny to me because it's like, for me, this is how I would look at it. If, you know, you look at, they played the Titans, they played the 49ers, and they played the Packers. So if you're going to give Dallas shit for not beating good teams, you got to give the Rams shit too. Don't give me this, oh, they got a better quarterback. Oh, they got the better roster. Don't do that because that's not being fair and consistent. If you are being consistent, I'll accept that. You know, that's fine. But that's where I'm like, with Dallas, like, here's my thing too, and I don't know where you guys feel on this. Where Dallas stands right now, no one's really looking at them. Neither were anybody giving them their singing, you know, song and praises and stuff like that. They're going to go into the playoffs as one of those teams where, okay, they're looking good, but like there's going to be other teams people favor over them. So they're going to be like kind of like that forgotten child, which I prefer. Do not put expectations on my team.
Yeah.
So I think that, look, if you have a problem with, listen, I'll say this too. If Dallas even drops that Saints game, I'm still not worried. Now, if we're talking about the long-term implications of the team, like going far, okay, fine. But like, I'm still not scared. Not at all. So.
Oh, same here. 100% in agreement. If they drop that Saints game, I'm not concerned. And the thing that bothers me is like, when you hear fans talk, it's almost like you assume they think we're going to go 17-0. Like everybody, even the most optimistic fan thought we would lose at least 3 games this year. It may not have been the games that you thought we were going to lose, but that's where we are. Mm-hmm. And we'll probably lose 4 or 5. We'll still have a great record. We'll probably still be one of the top 3 teams in terms of playoffs. And we have a shot. And that just really irks me when every time the team has a bad game, and we've had 3, we have 3 losses. It's not the end of the world. We're still right there in the mix, and they don't do a good comparison between the rest of the league. Like you talked about, the Rams lost 3 straight. Nobody talks about our losses versus the Rams losing 3 straight. Nobody's talked about Arizona Cardinals and the losses that they've had. They just look at us and just say, oh, it's doom and gloom, and we're just completely out of contention. And all these other teams have a much better shot than we have.
Now, and I'll pass it over to, I'm not sure if he wants to entertain it, because me and him were talking about this before the show, and like he mentioned, listen, and I agree with this. There is no team in the NFC where I could say they are a demonstrable favorite to be like, they're going to wreck shit. Now, if it's Green Bay getting home field advantage, okay, maybe, but like, I still don't trust them. Like, there's no, like, you can make an argument for the 5 teams in the NFC, and you could make an argument for pretty much any of the AFC teams. Like, this is going to be a really fun playoffs this year. I'm really excited. And I think that, look, I wouldn't be shocked, and I say this like this. Do I have this expectation in my head that Dallas is going to go far in this playoff? I don't know. I mean, it depends on the matchups. So I'll leave it at that. But I feel like if they get the right matchups, don't be shocked if Dallas goes on a run, especially if they start getting hot. And yep, thank you. I was about to mention that too. I had him at 12-5. Okay. I had him at 12-5. So it's funny to me when we do these season predictions and people are predicting 11-6, 12-5, and then they get mad because we lost a couple games. Like, listen, I understand the frustration. You lose a game you should have won. Cool. I'm the exact same way. But at the same time, I don't have the energy to be like, well, they're at least they've already surpassed their win total from last year, and they haven't won a game in like 2 weeks. So, like, I'm okay. I'm okay. We're still in the second year of a new head coach that's still getting this roster together. And I'm not trying to make excuses for the shit he does sometimes, but I think it's fair to be like, this is a pretty good improvement. So, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, no, that's why, like I said, we was talking about it before the show. I had us going 11-6. And if we beat the Saints, I had us exactly where I thought we'd be, 8-4. That's where now the games we lost and won was different.
Right.
But still, it's just
A4. Yep, I had him at A4.
What happens is even though you pick the team to lose, your team to lose, when you play that game, probably I say 90% of the time, you're going to find reasons why you should have won that game. We should have beat Kansas City, even though I had us pick us losing that game. We should have beat Denver. Well, fuck Denver. We should have beat them regardless. So there's always, you can always, every team, every time you lose, you can say, if we would have done this and that, if this call would have been different, and of course, fucking how fans are, if the refs wouldn't made that bad call, it's always that. You can always find that in every loss. Every loss you have, you can always find why you should have won. You know, so, but you're not going to win every game. I mean, like I said, I had us 11-6, and I think there's probably a chance if we can pull our head out of our ass and mainly just get our players back. I think there's a chance we can finish better than 11-6. I think we can only maybe lose one more game, and like Space was talking about before the thing, and I'm not trying to be a fanboy here. It's going to come out like a fanboy, and I hate fucking fanboys. But if you look at the rest of our schedule, we're better than every fucking team left on our schedule. We're picked to win every game. The Cardinals game is the only maybe that we have. So we could literally run the fucking table.
Yeah.
If we get healthy and we can get back to playing like we did the first, 6-7 games, Giants, we've already showed we could beat them. I'm not scared of Washington. Eagles, and fucking the Cardinals is the only game, in the Saints coming up. There's the 2 games like, but we're going to be picked to win every one of them games.
Yeah.
Except the Cardinals.
I think
I don't know how the Cardinals we got them at home. So there's a chance we're going to be favored to win that game.
On top of that, and as the Ed and Eddie Silver, Roger and Troy did have their bad losses. Like we were talking about the Leon Lett thing. It's funny. I did a tweet where the last time Dallas started 7-2, and again, I'm not the superstitious guy. I just like looking at these coincidences because I think like people need to look back at even those Super Bowl years. Like, oh, we were like dominating teams. Here's the thing: last time started 7-2 was 1993. You know what happened in 1993? We lost 2 straight games to a 6-10 Falcons team and a 9-7 Miami. I almost said Miami Falcon, Miami Dolphins team. That was the infamous Leon Lett game. And we dropped to 7-4. They go on to win the rest of their games and get home field advantage. Do I think Dallas is going to get home field advantage? No, but it shows you that these Super Bowl teams have their moments. They're a more recent example of 2 other ones, the Chiefs and the Bucks. Both teams were terrible in November. They were 1-3, and you had a Bucks team that was only 2 games over 500. And you had a Chiefs team that was only 3 games over 500. Same record that the Cowboys have right now. Both teams went on to win out. They got hot at the right time, and they ran the table in the playoffs. So for me, anything can be possible, especially with how wide open the NFC is this year. So don't be shocked if Dallas ends up going on a run. And I don't know if you saw my tweet, if you were here when I said this. So I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but I said it earlier. I thought we were going to lose this Raiders game. I had a gut feeling that they're going to drop this game because of the injuries, which it kind of was like, okay, it was kind of becoming true, but then they kind of were coming back. But I then said that Saints game, they're going to get fully healthy, and they're going to return to form and go on a run. I firmly believe that's what's going to happen. And like we talked at the very beginning, I'm not scared of the East. The East is all but a foregone conclusion that Dallas is going to win it. You're going to eat those. No, shut up. We're going to win the East. I don't care what anybody says.
And what are we, like 3 up with 6 to go or something ridiculous like that?
Are we? Are we like 3 games up?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
with the Eagles losing today.
Yeah, we're like three up on the Eagles, but basically 4 since we got the tiebreaker with them as of right now. Then you have Washington. We're 3 or 4 up on them. We're fucking up, dude. It's like, I mean, I just look at it. I see so many people on Twitter like we're hey, it ain't over with. You know, I mean, anything's possible. Well, yeah, fucking anything's possible. You know, but like I've always said, what's probable? That's what I go with. When you make a bet and you put $1,000 down on a game, you don't go with what the fuck is possible. You're going to go with what is probable. If you're going with what is possible, you're going to go broke and you're never going to fucking win a bet. Go with what's probable. The probable is we're going to win the fucking East. And it's not going to be Professor O put it out today. I saw you liked it. The magic number now is 4.
Yeah.
4 wins, and one of them has to be Washington has to have a loss. So if we win Thursday, and then we win again next Sunday, and that's a Washington game, boom. That's 2 wins. Washington lost. We need 2 more wins, and we wrap up the fucking East.
And that's assuming the rest of the division wins out.
And that's assuming that Washington doesn't lose. You know, Washington could lose tomorrow. Fucking on Monday Night Football, they can lose to Seattle. I don't think they will, but they could. I got them play actually winning that game because Seattle's been so bad too. But it's not unlikely that they could lose tomorrow. So I mean, that like I said, dude, it's just. I mean, none of them have more than fucking 4 wins in the fucking division right now, or 5. I think they might have 5. Eagles might have 5. But like I said, I'm not worried about the East. That's not my concern. My concern is staying healthy and getting on the run. And trying what you can to get the East. I mean, to get the number 1 seed, which is going to be almost impossible just because where we put ourselves now.
Yeah.
But once you get to where you get, fucking just make a run and just do what you got to do and stay healthy and go into playoffs with a good run and a 22 healthy roster. And I think we'll be fine.
And real quick, because I wanted to ask this question to both of you, because where we sit here, we're going to be playing the Rams, assuming that we stay in that 4th spot, or if the Rams continue to lose, because their schedule starts to get brutal. Like towards the end, like they play the Jags easy game, they play the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Vikings, the Ravens, and the 49ers, all teams in their playoff mixes except for a handful. Is there a particular game that you would want, like a team you want to face in that first playoff game, like, or is there a team you're trying to avoid? Are you feeling that right now? Like, is it still like wait and see right now? It's kind of still wait and see, but I would not want to face either the Vikings or maybe the Rams, depending on how they do towards the end. Because I'm not a big fan of facing teams again. Not that we faced the Rams, but
go ahead, Marcus.
I do not want to face Green Bay just because of history. That team's the only team that scares me in the NFC. Matt Stafford still has not shown me that he's capable of winning a big game with the Rams so far. The Cardinals, I think we match up well with them, especially with Micah Parsons, and we get our edge rushers back. So they don't really scare me. And who else? Tampa. I mean, they got the win over us, but I'm not afraid of Tampa. I actually had us winning that game. I said it would be a coin flip game, and I think if we played them again, it would be the same either home or away. So they don't really scare me. Green Bay is the only team that scares me. And there's another team that nobody's talking about yet, but they're slowly creeping up, and that's the San Francisco 49ers.
I was about to mention them. Like they are in that.
Scare everybody. Even with that awful quarterback they have. That team should scare everybody. Their defense is starting to play like they're supposed to, and that running game is scary. And then Debo is just out of his mind right now. Hopefully he cools off before the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm hoping, because I don't want to be playing a team that's going hot. Well, if we're hot going into the playoffs, I'm not super concerned.
Yeah.
I just don't want to play like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I'm afraid of Green Bay as well, but it depends. But like, that's just because knowing the stigma. You know, I understand that some people are like, no, I want to go full force at him. I'm like, listen, fuck that. Like, just play the. I just want to get to the Super Bowl anyway possible. So, I mean, I think your most ideal option is getting number 2 or more preferably number 1. What do you think, Charlie?
No, there's not really a team that scares me. Like we was talking about earlier. I'm not scared of any team, but I don't think any team should be scared of us either. It's like like I was saying earlier, the fucking playoffs and the playoffs, December and then end of the playoffs, it's going to be some good fucking football, dude. Because there are 5 teams right now that can make an argument, even with the Rams losing today and 3-game losing streak and all that good shit. They can make an argument. Cardinals can make an argument. Cowboys can make an argument. Green Bay can make an argument. Bucks can make an argument that they're the best team in the NFC. I mean, they all can make a solid argument on it. So as far as first round goes, no, nobody really worries me. Going to Green Bay in cold weather, that worries me just because of cold weather and shit like that. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think we match up against any team. I'll tell you this: no matter who we get, I don't want the Rams in the first round. I will say that I don't want to fuck with the Rams in the first round, just because even though they're on the little slide, I don't know how they're going to do for the rest of the year. They do have firepower. You know, they don't always show. Didn't show today, but if they can get that firepower going, they're a hard team to deal with. You're going to have to point them, and I don't really want to fucking get into a point fucking thing with the Rams. But at the end of the day, if we get the Rams, we get the Rams, and I don't matter. As far as the Saints, the Vikings, the teams that are kind of up there right now with the 5th and 6th seed or the 6th and 7th seed, none of them really worried me. I'm not too worried about it. But like I said, I don't think anybody should be scared of us either. I think we're all evenly matched. I just think it's going to be the NFL is getting exactly what they want. This is what they want. They don't want no team or 2 teams pulling away, and then everybody knows at the end of the year, well, okay, it's between these 2 teams. You know, this is going to be this month of December, and that first round of the playoffs and the second round of playoffs. It's going to be a lot of coin tosses, like, you know, on who's going to win. I mean, you know, they got the playoff machine back up on ESPN. I was playing with it earlier, and like right now, I had it finishing with Tampa Bay as a 1 seed. Then I had the Saints playing the Cardinals in the first round. Then I had Minnesota playing us in the first round, and Green Bay and the Rams in the first round. That's some good fucking games, dude.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a really good lineup.
That's a good lineup. And on the other side, you got Baltimore. Then you have Indianapolis playing San Diego, fucking New England playing the Titans, and the Kansas City playing Buffalo Bills. Holy shit. That is some good fucking football. I mean, because none of them teams over there, even them teams over there, none of them are pulling away from each other.
Yeah.
You know, like that's just, like I said, it's going to be some good fucking football, man. It's going to be to me, probably one of the better playoff seasons, unless something fucks up and 4 teams just go to shit in the month of December. But to right now, it seems like this is probably going to be one of the better playoff Januaries that I've seen in a long time, because you just don't know.
Right. I mean, like, and I'm looking at this lineup. I mean, you look at the AFC right now. Like, you have, I think Baltimore still the 1 seed? It looks
That's
like
still the 1 seed. Yeah,
because they have 3 losses.
Yeah, Tennessee.
I mean, like, that's what's crazy. You know, I'm looking at here. Like, we still don't know who's getting home field advantage. Like, I agree with that. I agree with them here. Like, I think that if Dallas gets healthy at the right time and they push into the playoffs, they could be one of the scariest teams. I think that out of the rest, I think they have the most offensive firepower, and that's not even just cap. That's just being honest. They have the most firepower. Maybe the second closest would be Tampa Bay, honestly. Defensively speaking, you know, Micah Parsons has been oh my God, like, he's been amazing. And that's as a part-time pass rusher. And just, if you manage to get these guys healthy and they're playing at that right, that's all it is about the Super Bowl. It's whoever's playing the best football and gets lucky at the right time. And Dallas is definitely in that mixture of things. I would say, you know, I'm just a firm believer, just whatever happens, happens. And however you get there, I don't care, because they're going to just criticize you if you beat a team. Like, listen, if we play the Rams, and we beat them. You know what they're going to say? Oh, it's Matthew Stafford. He always chokes in these bad games, regardless of how much offensive firepower he showed. Going to the next round, let's say we play, I don't know, let's say we play Tampa Bay or, I don't know, let's just say Green Bay. I don't know, one of the two. And you beat them. Oh, they were not at home. They weren't healthy. I don't know. Insert reason here. Yeah. It's good. That's why I tell people, like, don't be afraid of who we met. Like, and I mean, what I mean by that is don't be upset, like, if someone's talking shit, because we know this. I know Charlie's mentioned it a couple of times. Even back in 2016, he's had it. But yeah, I don't care who we face. Just do what you got to do.
Yeah, I said that the other day on Twitter. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I know somebody said that we would get respect if we beat our last game. And I'm
Kansas
like,
City.
no. Yeah, Kansas City. I'm like, nah, we're not going to get no respect. I mean, it's just that's not and fair or not fair. I think it's fair. I mean, it's been 25 fucking years since we've done anything. So there's really no reason for other fan bases or for analysts to have any respect for us, because until we change this and that we can show we can do something in the playoffs, it's going to remain that. Until we go and win the Super Bowl, everybody's going to say fucking, oh, y'all eventually going to fuck. I mean, it's going to be some reason why we won or why we didn't win.
And let me
I'm not very worried about it.
The only playoff game Dallas will be favored in is that wild card game, unless it's against the Rams. I guarantee you that. That's the only time people are going to be like, Dallas is going to win that one game. They're not going to think Dallas is going to do anything the rest of the playoffs. So that's why it's like. That's why I'm like, I don't give a shit about the respect part, because again, people are down on Dallas. They're going to look at it. Well, they got the good record because they beat bad teams at the end. No one's going to care. That's why I'm like, whatever. You know what? Fine. Don't give me don't give me that. Just just be honest with me. Like that's the thing. I don't expect Dallas to have any expectations going into the playoffs. You know what's going to happen? Like Charlie mentioned, they haven't done anything in 25 years. It's going to be the exact same thing. They'll maybe win one playoff game and they'll hit the wall. The next thing you know, they're in the NFC Championship game and people are going to be saying the same thing. Oh, they won't make it to the Super Bowl. They're going to choke like always. They get to the Super Bowl, same thing. It's not going to be anything different. And I think what makes this better, they're a young team. They don't got to worry about those. Like, they don't have that behind them, really. So, that's just me. I don't want to go on forever.
They still got Jerry Jones, and he's always a fucking problem.
Oh, God.
Before we move forward, because for a long time, it was just the three of us, and now the viewers are steadily increasing. So, I just wanted to throw a quick shout out to everybody who's watching. We got Rika. Moves the chains in the comments. We got Mendoza joining us. Ed and Eddie have been there for a while. Thank you guys for the comments. Also, we have the deal. Thank you for tuning in. And also Dale Prime, who I think is still kind of with us. Thank you guys all for joining in on the conversation.
Travis Banks was with us very, very first, but
he was the first one. He kind of stepped out. And then for like 30 minutes, it was just us, and then views started climbing. Somebody asked a question. I wanted to go back to it. And then I had a question too about the game, about a player. The deal when he came in, asked about Boss Man Fat. Do you guys think he actually gets a chance to get on the field in terms of some 30-40% of the snaps, or is he just going to kind of be a special teams guy the rest of the year without injuries?
Yeah, I don't see him getting that much playing time.
Okay.
I mean, he ain't taking any away from Diggs. He might take a snap or two away from Brown, maybe in a blowout, or maybe even just getting him in there just for some reps, and maybe he'll get some in there if we go to dime or some shit like that. But it's just, I mean, right now, I don't know. I'm not upset with how any of our cornerbacks are playing. I mean, I'm not a big fan on Lewis, but he's played well all season. They all look like shit last week. I mean, so
yeah.
I mean, they none of them was impressive last week. So, but no, I don't see him getting that much playing time.
So yeah, like I think that Kelvin Joseph has some way of getting playing time, but I don't think it's going to be this year. To be honest with you, I think that, like Charlie mentioned, it's more. It's not that he's not good. I think it's more so that the other guys have been playing so well, you don't really have a reason to go to him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, if it were me personally, if it was like Anthony Brown was struggling, like, consistently, like people make it out to be, especially with how the season has gone, like, he's been playing good. And that's mainly due to the fact that you're getting pressure and you're not asking him to do a whole lot. Maybe, yeah, but then again, and I think that this is another thing too that I should give a warning to, is that we don't know how, he's gonna look. We don't know how he's gonna look out there.
Right.
So like, I want to go with what I know. I don't want to risk some nonsense where I'm throwing a guy out there, and again, I'm not saying he's a scrub. For all I know, he could prove me wrong, but I don't want to risk that, especially when you're in a situation where you're in contention for going on a run, especially if you get everything right. Especially when, like, really, like, to be honest with you, I think the biggest thing that we're missing is the pressure, because Mike has been doing it all most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the key thing here. So I don't think Kelvin I think he's a redshirt player, or he just continues playing special teams.
Right. And I'll say this, because like Charlie said, a couple people tried to call me a fanboy with Brown. In the offseason, I was one of the first people screaming, we need to trade Brown. And my reason for saying that was because Dallas has historically put their first, second, third, fourth round cornerbacks on the field early. You can go back to Brown 2016, Awuzie Lewis. You can go all the way back to Dwayne Goodrich. Second rounders play early in Dallas. And offseason, my thought was, if Diggs is the one, they're probably going to put Brown on the field as the two. Not Brown, I'm sorry. Joseph on the field as the two. Brown has never beat Lewis, really. So you're going to have Brown at the 4. But Joseph got hurt. Brown came in. Brown played well. And he hasn't done anything to get himself removed from the field. Plain and simple. He's not touching Joseph's not touching the field.
Yeah.
Even if Brown has 2 more bad games, he's still done enough this year to say that he's the number 2 corner for this team.
He would have to get fucking murdered the next 2 games. I mean, just his 2017 version of himself. He'd have to go back to that version for them to even think about that. Because he's had 2. I know people don't want to admit this, but he had fucking 10 solid games. Fucking good, not solid, good games. So I don't see anything for one bad game that's going to cause anything to be fucking different. And I mean, I know Quinn talked about it the other day that he thought was the referee crew. They got him also in the first game. So, and right now Brown has done nothing the whole season to make me think he's going to have another game like that. I think he'll bounce back and he'll be fine. But yeah, I guess if he just comes out and just looks like pure shit and just getting killed, I guess, but I'd say no, just because he hasn't done anything to make me think he's going to have 2 bad games in a row. I just, and like I said, some of the penalties were a little ticky-tack. I mean, there was penalties, like we talked about at the beginning.
The one in the end zone, that one kind of bothered me.
Yeah, no, it bothered me.
That one, yeah.
He was looking for the ball. He made a play on the ball. Their arms were intertangled. I mean, I've seen that 1,000 times.
That's what they got him for. And when you go back and look at it, I'm not so sure his arms was I think they appeared to be intertangled, and the referee saw it. And this is where I'll defend the refs at. They're fucking calling this shit live. And dude's running 4.240s coming at him. They're calling it live. We're sitting our fat asses on the fucking recliner, drinking a beer, eating fucking potato chips, and not like we're fucking professionals.
And we got 6 angles in slow motion.
And we got fucking 22 fucking angles forever. I mean, so no, it appears it's just like a defensive receiver hit. Sometimes they throw that flag. This is why I think this should be a replay though. They throw that flag because it's such a violent fucking hit. It looks like he went high, but when they show the replay, he hit him in his chest. But since the play was so violent, the ref just says, "Oh well, shit, that has to be a fucking defensive receiver," and he throws a fucking flag. And I think that's what happened to Brown on that one in the end zone. I think because, like I said, he didn't have his arm. It's just their arm just happened to be at an angle to where it looked like he was holding his arm down. Right. So yeah, that was a bad call. I mean, I didn't like that call. But
and I would say the only 2 times that I've had an issue with like the officiating were in this entire season were so far only 2 instances in the most recent games. The game where and again, they should have called a face mask, and you know what I'm going to get about. They should have called a face mask. They didn't, and then they wait 2 minutes, and then they you can't do that. Like you cannot do that. Like legally speaking in the rule book, you cannot do that. I had to look it up. I don't remember where it says, but like it says you can't do that. But I guess you can. I don't know. The other thing was the fumble. You know what I'm talking about? The fumble. That part, I was like, okay, so let me get this straight. So he takes 3. Listen, it's one thing if you said it was incomplete. Okay, that's fine.
Right.
My problem is you let it run. A lot of people are like, yeah, it looks like a fumble. And then you wait, and then you change the call, and then you don't make it challengeable because that's how the procedures go. Those are the only 2 times where I've gotten like, okay, that's ridiculous. Like, come on now. But aside from that, it's not been, you know.
Well, see, the fumble one, that's another one where it's just like me. When I saw it live, I'm like, that's not a catch. And then when I first saw the first replay, I'm like, yeah, that's not a catch. But when they showed the next 2 or 3, I'm like, that's fucking close, man. It's like I don't know. It's one of them catch things where I guess nobody knows the exact rule, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I thought whatever they called on the field was going to stand. If they would have called it a catch, I don't think they would have reversed it if the other team would have threw the flag. But since they called it a no catch, I don't think Mike had enough. That's why I wasn't upset with Mike not throwing the flag. I'm like, I probably would.
Well, he couldn't either way. So,
but see, that's what I heard too. But then that came out later that he could have. That they asked Mike about it. Mike said that he didn't throw the flag because he didn't think he had enough information. That
I don't blame him.
That he didn't think that it was going to get overturned, and he wanted to save his timeouts in a close game like that. But I was with you because Boomer explained at halftime that it actually came from upstairs, from the fucking the referee in the fucking booth had called down and told him, hey, that's not a catch. And that's why they ruled it that way. Either way, I don't think it would have been overturned. It was a bang bang play. I think it was borderline, and either way they would have called it, it would have stuck. But that's the whole thing. That's why we get back on the refs and people bitch about them. Everybody sees it different. Where if you're watching, I'll tell somebody this: watch a fucking game with the opposing fan that you're playing. Set them beside you, and y'all going to fucking fight the whole fucking game. Because every time you're going to say, oh, that's a flag, you know, that shouldn't have been a flag. And when every time he says it's a flag, well, no, you're going to say, oh, that shouldn't have been a flag. You know, because we're going to see it different because who we're rooting for. And that's when fans need to step the fuck back sometimes and stop bitching about the refs and realize you're fucking kind of watching them with some rose-colored glasses sometimes. Sometimes you're going to see shit that's not really there, or you're going to see a ticky-tack call that maybe shouldn't have been called, but legally it is a holding, but it might not have been a big holding. So,
yeah. Before we move forward, I see we got Jessica Haggerty coming in the comments. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you tuning in. And I had another question. I saw a comment from Mendoza. I wanted to take care of this one really quick before we get to Jessica's. Mendoza asked about R2 Reggie Robinson. Is he able to come back? Reggie Robinson was put on IR during the preseason, off-season. So when you go on IR during the offseason, you're automatically done for the year. They shut you down. Okay. So there's no chance of him coming back this year. And I'll get back to Jessica's comment, but I had a question for you guys. How'd you guys think Tristan Hill looked this week?
I thought he looked good.
He looked good too. Yeah, especially with like
him coming this week.
Yeah. And I'm not going to PFF grades because you know how I feel about PFF grades. I think they're pure shit. But if anybody out there that listening likes PFF grades, he was graded the highest. I think the highest player on defense or the highest player on our defensive line. I can't remember how that worked, but I think he was graded out to be the highest defensive player. No, I thought he did. I thought he looked good since he's came back.
Right.
I've been probably a little bit more impressed with him. I thought I would.
I have been too.
Yeah, I agree with.
I think he's looked fantastic. I think that once he gets Gregory and Lawrence back, he's going to look even better because he's not having to deal with all the other bullshit. So
yep.
And I'll go back to this, man, and I'll keep going back to this. I think our defense, dude. I think our defense is about to catch some fucking fire because we're about to start getting some people back, man. We're about to get Gregory back. We're about to get D-Law back. We got Hills playing well. I'm assuming at some point Gallimore is going to come back. Our depth is going to be Urban's going to come back. I think a lot of people downplayed what Urban did. Urban was a fucking solid run stopper for us. You know, our run game hasn't looked as good, or defensive run game hasn't looked as good since he's left. So I think all that coming back into our team, I think our defense is about to hit another level. You know, I mean, fuck, dude, we played without Gregory and fucking D-Law this last game. I mean, and that also, even though Mika's great at the edge, but when you put Mika on the edge, you're downgrading your linebacker spot.
And it's
so now, so now you're going to get your fucking defensive ends back. You can put Mika. I always call him Mika. Micah, you go put Micah back at linebacker, and then so you upgrade your linebacker, and you can still. And this is what I've said, and I know they're going to do it on passing plays. Man, you can have Gregory, Micah at the edges, and D-Law and fucking Osa in the fucking middle at 3 tech and 1 tech. That is a badass fucking pass rushing group right there. Because I've always said I thought D-Law was better as a pass rusher from the 3 tech inside than he was from the outside. Marinelli used to move him inside at times and let him play 3 on passing downs. And I always thought he just did a better job from inside than he does outside. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be something to contend with when we get all them guys back. And Micah, man, I'm sorry. I know I didn't like the pick, but Jesus Christ, dude, that dude. I said the other day in the chat, everybody's talking about rookie of the year. I give a fuck, man. That motherfucker needs to be talking about defensive player of the year. Yeah, because that dude is just.
No, he's unbelievable.
Where you put him on the edge, put him in the middle, put him in the weak, put him at the strong. Fucking, I don't give a shit. I think you can line him up at 3 tech, and I think he could dominate there. That dude is just he's a beast, man.
Listen, I don't care what anybody says. Also, like if not even like I'm talking about I don't give a shit about Pro Football Focus. But statistically speaking, every other statistical category, Micah Parsons looks like he's been the best pass rusher in the first, like that's come out of the draft in the past decade. Like he's looked unbelievable, it's crazy because you can make an argument that he's being held on literally every single play, and they refuse to call it. He's getting sacks and like. He could get a bunch more. And what's crazy is that he's not a full-time pass rusher. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like, if goddamn, like, I personally think he's better than Chase Young. Others would be like, nah, it's not. But he's becoming an all-around better player because he's a hybrid type of player. And that's what I think allows us to become, like, our defense to go from, like, to that next level is you have a guy that can put a lot more pressure. And also he could play linebacker. I think the biggest thing he has to work on is those coverage skills and stuff like that. Yep. But when he gets that, oh my God, that man, he's going to be a fucking beast.
Yeah, he's just, like I said, and everybody argues where he should play. And I'm like, stop fucking debating where he should play. Keep doing what you're doing with him. Don't pigeonhole that dude in one spot. Don't say, hey, you're an edge rusher and that's all you're fucking going to do. No. And don't say, hey, you're off the ball linebacker. We want you to blitz him at the middle. That's what we want you to do. Just use him like they're using him. Put him everywhere. Just let him fucking go get ball. Fucking Micah, see ball. Micah, go get ball. And that's what he does. Yeah, I've been since I didn't like the fucking draft pick because he was off the ball linebacker.
Right.
I've been so impressed with how they've used him. If you would have told me when we drafted him, well, hey, look, I know for a fact this is what we're going to do with him. I'm like, hey, cool, great. But even then, I probably would have said, yeah, but he's never rushed the fucking passer from the edge. How do we know he can do it? I probably still wouldn't like the pick. But, yeah, he's totally blew my fucking not liking the pick out of the water. Because, like I said, I always loved the player. The player I always said he's talented. He's good. I just didn't like the off-the-ball linebacker at 12. But now that they're using him like they're using him, shit, I'm fucking all good with that.
That's what I was saying when I did my my post view of the draft. I was like, listen, as a Penn State guy, I knew what Mike could be. The thing that bothered me, and this is where I didn't knock him to Dallas, was because I felt they liked their linebackers too much to make a pick like that. But if I knew what they knew, I would have mocked him to go in there any point in time. I knew, like, if you go watch his Penn State film, he's doing the exact same shit.
Same thing.
Now. So, like, this is no surprise to me. What worried me was Dallas was going to use him properly. And God damn it, they are, and it's really paying off for them. He's really gotten them close to winning these past 2 games. We're getting him in position to win these games. And I think that for him to get that ability to not be that one guy that everyone's – I mean, even with him being the one guy you're worrying about, he's still wrecking shit.
Yeah.
So – and he doesn't even have a lot – like from the edges, he doesn't even have a lot of pass rush moves. He pretty much has 2, speed and that little inside move he does. That's what he already does. He got a little power move, but not much. If he developed more of his moves, dude, he's going to even be better. I still don't want him on the edge at all times. I still like him at off the ball linebacker. I still like him blitzing up the middle, so I don't want to fucking pigeon him as a defensive end either. But, hey, if he keeps doing what he's fucking doing, he might end up getting pigeonholed one day as an edge rusher. The only thing I worry about is his size. And it's just his overall just taking on them 300-pound guys every single down, every single play. But there's been fucking people who did it. Von Miller wasn't a big guy, and he fucking did it. So there's his examples, but he'll have to put on some weight if he's going to do it full time.
Yeah.
But I ain't worried about this year. That'll be a next year and future question. Right now, with D-Law and Gregor coming back, he's about to go back to off the ball linebacker, blitzing up the middle, and on passing downs, hopefully they'll do smart thing, put him on the edge, move D-Law inside, and just fucking go get the passer.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like for the people that follow me, they know late September last year, I was on the record. Micah Parsons was our pick, no matter what. That's how much I love that guy. Like you said, Space. 2019, he showed it. And he's actually exceeding my expectations because I was trying to tell people if Micah turns into a 85 tackle, 6 sack guy, is he worth the pick? And everybody said, yeah. And I said, I guarantee you that's what he's going to get as a rookie. And he's already pretty much exceeded everything I expected for him. So really the sky's the limit for the kid. And he's
and it's crazy because here's the thing, I really would have loved to see. I tweeted this months before the draft. I think it was in January or December. I said I would love to see him in silver and blue. I think he would look great in silver and blue. The problem was I felt that Dallas was just going to be nah, we don't want him.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it turned out the way it did. Now I think then the next question is going to be what about that second round pick you did? But we already talked about him. And it's way too soon. It's still way too soon for a good chunk of the guys. So I'm not super upset. I mean, the fact that Dallas has gotten the haul it has in the Mike McCarthy era now, gives me a lot of bright spots going forward. And I don't want to be preemptive or anything like that. But
I kind of like this last draft. I mean, I think they all been pretty solid. You got Micah, which speaks for himself. I think Joseph, he hasn't shown nothing. That's not his fault. I mean, that's not that he's.
It's just other guys are playing better than him.
Exactly. And then you got Osa, which is fucking beast. I love the dude. Then you have Golston, which is shown. So sometimes I don't think he sets the edge good, but neither does Basham.
Definitely
Basham. Yeah, both them guys sometimes fucking take inside move when they shouldn't. But overall, I thought he's played solid. Fucking who else you got? Nashawn Wright. He's on special teams, but he's played well on special teams. He's contributed there. Then you got the safety Muck, which he hasn't played much, but again, that's not anything on him. So
Bo Hannah's give you more snaps than you would expect for.
Bo gave me more snaps than I thought he was.
Yeah.
He should have.
Right.
We'll get on. We've talked about that so many times. I won't get on that subject, but they've learned their lesson. He's kind of back off now, but I still think he has a future to be that one tech that everybody falls in love with for whatever reason. I thought the draft was pretty solid. I've been happy with all the guys. And the guys I'm not happy with, it's not that I'm not happy with them. I just haven't seen them because other guys are playing better.
Yeah.
So, and it's nothing that they've done wrong. But fucking Micah, dude. I can't get enough of that dude. It's just like the things he does on the edge. It's like motherfucker just has a get off, dude. It's like the ball snapped and that tackles. I feel so bad. Well, not really, but I feel bad for him. Because, I mean, before they even get out of their stance, they're already having to reach for him because he's already passed them.
Yeah, it's just crazy how many times you could call a hold on the guy. It's unbelievable.
Well, that's what me and Bluff was talking about earlier. You call a hold on ever play, but they have held him quite a bit, and he's not getting that fucking call. Eventually, he'll get that call. Eventually, they'll, sometimes it just takes a while before you start getting that call.
Right.
Do you guys think there's any chance D-Law plays this Thursday? I've seen kind of the little bit that he's practicing, and he's
If he's full, sure, but like I still don't know. I mean,
honestly, man, I said this last week. Unless they're just like fucking 100% ready to go and ramped up, I'd hold all of them out for another week. I'm not saying we can beat the Saints without them, blah blah. Yeah. But I'm just saying, hold them out. That gives them an extra 10 days because after this game, we're gonna have 10 days until the Washington game. That gives them extra 10 days, and you're bringing everybody back on the last 5-game stretch. Right. All division teams except the Cardinals, and you'll have D-Law, you'll have Gregory, you'll have Gallimore, you'll have Urban, you'll have fucking Lamb, you'll have fucking
Cooper.
Cooper. Yeah, I couldn't fucking think of the dude's name. But you'll go into the last 5 games for that stretch run, 100% healthy and ready to fucking make a run for it. But if he's healthy and he's 100% and he's just ramped up to go, then I have no problem with him. But I wouldn't have no problem if they keep him out either.
According to sources, it appears he is going to play this week.
Is this your sources, Space?
Yeah, it's sources. Do trust me, bro. No, it's Clarence. There's Clarence Hill, Michael Gilkin. They're kind of pointing at that direction. I think Mike is kind of also like the team is also kind of excited. So yeah. I would say that now you're not going to get Gregory back for this game. No. I don't think so. But I think what's important is that I would like for him to get back. Now, I don't have a problem with him not playing a whole lot. What I want him to do is start getting acclimated back because he's missed so much goddamn time. I need to get him in there. Not force him to be a starter. Like
he only played 60% when he's 100%, though.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I can see them doing that. I can see them like, hey, you're not going to start, but we'll give you like 25, 30% of the snaps, maybe especially on like run downs because he's fucking badass stop and run. Maybe let him on 3rd and 1s, get a few snaps, maybe, on some 3rd and 10s, moving him into 3-tech, seeing how that works, and fucking with Parsons on the edge. So I can see him, maybe getting some playing time. I won't be mad either way. I don't care either way. This is what I want. I want that Washington game. I want every motherfucker back for that Washington game. And I want that run for the last 5 games. So it's 100% healthy and making that run for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want us to make the statement this Thursday saying we're here and we're not to be fucked with. But I want, like, when everyone's back or close to everyone being back, like you mentioned, Charlie, I want that Washington game to be a forewarning for people to be like, watch the hell out. This team is scary. That's what I want to see from the Cowboys going forward is they're a scary team. Like, and I want to be clear, too, because I know I mentioned about the losses. I don't want to make it seem like I'm being complacent in the losses. It sucks to lose. I want my team to go 17-0, 16-0, 19-0, 20. I don't care. I want them to win every game. I know they're not going to win every game. I would say that if being complacent would be like if they like were like now 7-6 and I'm not blowing a gasket because like now everything else is falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't. They are reaching my expectations. That's why I'm not upset. I had him 8-4. I had him at least 8-3 at this point. But that's off by 1 game. It's not like I'm off by like 5. So I can't complain. So I don't think.
Yeah, I think you were saying earlier, or somebody was saying that we might be a team to be scared of with this run we might put on. And I do agree with that. I think if we can get healthy, again, I think we will make a run. I think the last 5 games, I think we will make a point of who we are in going into the playoffs, especially if we're fully healthy and get everybody back.
All right. Well, guys, I know we still got a few people with us, so I think we're probably about to get out of here pretty soon. So if you have any questions or comments, be sure to put them on the side so we can go ahead and address them. I got 2 more things I want to talk about. I don't know if you guys had anything else prepared.
No, go ahead, buddy. This is all
okay.
Freestyle here, dude. I just was coming home from Gatesville. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to record. And when I got home, I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to go live. It was a sudden thing.
So 2 injuries I want to talk about. See what you guys' thoughts are. First, we'll start with Charlie's favorite position, running back. And it looks like, well, we all saw from the game, Zeke's not at 100%. He's nowhere near it. And there's been some talks that maybe they'll try to ease him up a little bit as we go into the playoffs. What do you guys think about Zeke? What do you guys think his percentage of carry should be for the next game or 2? Do you guys think Tony Pollard can carry the load? or should we try to bring in another running back to kind of help supplement some of the stuff that Zeke did?
I'll go first because I don't take
Yeah,
me
go
long
ahead.
to talk about running backs.
Yeah.
If Zeke isn't fully healthy, if his knee's banged up, set him for this game. I'm not worried again because I don't think the offense line goes is how the running back goes.
Mm-hmm.
So if the offense line going good, TP do good, numbnuts that we got for the season, Clements, there we go. I think we'll be fine because honestly, the Saints got a badass. They got a good defense. Period. They got a badass run defense. So what I'm hoping on is the same thing as the Bucs game, is that we're not going to go in there and try to establish the fucking run for a fucking 3 quarters like we did last game, and then wait to the 4th quarter before you start passing. So if he's not fully healthy, I say set him. Give him that week's rest plus another 10 days rest, and let him come back healthy and ready to go for that last 5-game stretch.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm the same way. Listen, I love Zeke. You can see the jersey back there, but again, look, he's had this knee contusion thing. I think since Carolina, so like he really should have been resting.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm not afraid because again, I think that the offense goes through your quarterback, not your running back. I don't care what the Joneses say; they can suck it. I don't care. For me, I want to see also what Tony, because for me, like if you're gonna run first, put Tony back there because he's giving you more yards per carry on a first down than Zeke is. Sorry, but that's the truth of the matter. Another thing is that I would like if they're gonna use the running backs, use them in the passing game a bit more. Like put Tony out wide. He can play wide receiver. I'm not trying to say
my chair space.
What?
No, I agree 100% with that.
Yeah. I've been looking for that because ultimately, if you want teams to fear you and you don't want to be one-dimensional, this is how you do it. Mm-hmm. And so I would love for this to be the game where you need Zeke I don't agree. I think you just need a good running game to wear out. It doesn't have to be just Zeke. It could be anybody.
Marcus,
that's just my
for me.
Oh. Like, I don't really care. I mean, for God's sake, you could probably rest him for the rest of the goddamn year. I don't really care. Like, just as long as he's healthy. Because I don't want to make it seem like he's useless. I don't want to make this like Zeke slander. Because he's amazing in pass protection. I'll give him that. And he's been solid this year. He hasn't been anything like Derrick Henry-wise, but Derrick Henry's getting a shitload of carries, so whatever. But look, I don't care. Just let him rest. You could rest him for the next 3 games. What I would like from that is you get Dak to get back into a rhythm. Because I want to see this because this passing game is going to be important, especially when you're going if you get into a shootout with one of his top level offenses and they're clicking, you need to be ready for that shit. So I say I don't give a shit if Dak throws 50 times a game. Like
I said, I don't worry about the running back who's back there. As long as the offense line is clicking,
we'll be fine.
And that's all fucking good. And as long as Dak's back there, the running game will be fine. It don't matter who you put back there. It's not going to make that big of a difference.
So Charlie's brought up offensive line, which kind of leads to my next question. There's reports now Terrence Steele isn't playing this Thursday due to
COVID.
Yeah, he's out.
So is there anything? Well, I guess it's 2 questions. One, who do you guys consider the starter at right tackle going forward? And 2, if you consider Steele the tackle going forward, is there anything Collins can show you in this week's game to say he deserves to get that spot back?
Go ahead, Space.
It's tough because for me, because here's the thing. With Steele, aside from this COVID thing, he's giving you availability, which I value a hell of a lot. With Collins, here's how I look at it, and I'm going to be honest with you. I think Collins is the all-round better talent. That's just my honest assessment. But that doesn't mean that Steele's playing like shit because a lot of people were getting on him. There are moments he has gaps, but he's a young guy. Right. You know what I mean? Like the fact that you have an undrafted guy at your tackle spot and he played decent is something to be commended. The thing is like Collins has been playing solid, but I need to see him get back into a groove because I felt like he should be the guy at right tackle, but then the part of me is like, well, I want to see Steele get better because he's
the
there.
Future, basically.
He's there, and that's why I'm like, the only caveat is like if you play him, you can maybe trade him, but then again, like I just don't know. I like Collins as a talent, but I like Steele's availability.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I kind of stand. I think that what I'm looking for in this game is that Collins can try to. This is a golden opportunity to him to reassert himself.
Yeah,
as the starter. I mean, this is going to be finally, unless knock on wood, some bullshit happens in the next 4 days. We're going to finally see Tyron, Zach, and Lyell play for the first time this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think, right? Or something like that. I think this is the first combination of the three being together, or like them I don't remember. But point being, I don't care. Just whoever's playing the best. I think Collins can play the best, but I don't know. It's a tough question.
Yeah, it is a tough question. And I look at it in terms of, I know this has been kind of the buzzword for the year, continuity on the offensive line. Mm-hmm. Like you look at Steele, Steele's giving you nine straight games of above average tackle play, which is really about all you can ask for any NFL team because offensive line play is just atrocious around the league, to be honest, outside of 4 or 5 guys. And then you bring in Collins, who I think we all kind of agree, just based on what we've seen, may be the better talent, but he hasn't had the chance to play because of his own availability with suspensions and injuries, etc. So now the question is, do you sit a younger guy who's been showing you good snaps, or do you give the older guy who you think is more talented a longer leash to try to get back into the groove to show his full potential? It's a tough scale to weigh. I personally lean towards Steele. I agree. I think Collins may be the better talent, but I still got questions about the hip, the being in shape, and I hate to put Steele back on the bench and let him get cold and then see him revert back to 2020 Steele. I'd rather keep him where he is now than try to pick up on the potential of Collins being incrementally better. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll keep. You know me. I didn't like all the fucking movement in the beginning.
Yeah,
I didn't like none of it. I'd kept Steele at right tackle. I let Collins be the swing tackle. That's what I said when Collins came back healthy. I would never put Collins back in there. Since Collins did come back, I think he's played 3 games now. He hasn't really looked any better than Steele, and he's damn sure hasn't looked like the 2019 version of fucking Collins, which is everybody's go-to as he's a top 5 right tackle. That's what I'll always hear. And I always tell people he was a top 5 right tackle in 2019. We have not seen that. Yeah. We have not seen that since 2019, 2 fucking years ago. So, and just like Del Prime said, and Marcus has said, and I said, he's had a hip surgery since then too, and that makes a difference. I'm not saying that he can't overcome that, but typically hip surgeries can tend to make your play not be as good as it once was. So me personally, I would have kept Steele there. I don't know what they're going to do now. Well, now Collins has got to play right tackle this game, and like Del Prime said, this should be a good test against Cam Jordan, which might be a little unfair because Cam Jordan. But I will say this: the old 2019 version, Collins can handle fucking Cam Jordan. So we'll see what version of Collins is this game. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll come in and just dominate him. And if he does, I'll be happy to say, fuck it, keep him in there for the rest of the season.
Same here.
But I just felt like the whole time, which to Cowboys' defense, I mean, Tyron went out, so they had to move fucking Steele to left tackle. Well, they didn't have to, but
they had Ty, but
yeah, I see. That's another thing. That people disagree, and I'm cool with that. But I would have kept fucking Steele at right tackle, and I would have put fucking Ty at fucking left tackle.
I agree with you there.
And if that doesn't work, then make changes, because obviously you're making changes now. So that's what I would have done. But they didn't do that. And since then, everything's been moving around, and you pull fucking Connor Williams out because he gets a couple penalties a game, and you put McGovern in there, so
Did Williams go back in on Thanksgiving? Not to cut you off. Did he go?
Him and Collins both did.
He
got
one drive.
Yeah, so did Collins. Collins got one drive with right tackle also. I don't know what that was about. I don't know what that was about because it was one drive and they never came back in the game.
Yep.
So I thought they was going to keep rotating them.
Oh my God, I would have lost my shit.
You would need both.
I didn't
like it. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
But I don't understand what the one drive did. I'm not really understanding what the one drive was about.
Know.
So,
but for me,
it's a big thing. And I think, when everybody's healthy, if it was up to me, if everybody's healthy, it would be badass at fucking center, Martin at right guard, Steele at right tackle, fucking Smith at left tackle, and they can pick who the fuck they want at fucking left guard.
They haven't really played any, like it hasn't been any.
I like Connor Williams. I know he gets a couple penalties a game, but Marcus talked about, you're basically judging a guy off 2 plays out of 70.
Right?
It's like let's pull him out because he has them 2 bad plays, but the mother 68 was pretty fucking good. We was averaging more yards per carry behind him than any of the other offensive linemen. So it wasn't like he was doing that fucking bad. It was just them couple penalties a game was, it was eating them up. And I thought it was a knee-jerk reaction. And maybe Mac will go in there. Maybe he'll do better. Maybe he'll play just as good as him and not get the penalties.
Yeah.
And if he does that, then it's a win-win. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, and that's where I was kind of like, we bring up Ty.
Yeah. I'll see y'all. We'll see y'all. What's today? Sunday? Come back for Rocket Show on Tuesday.
But yeah, like for me, like the Vikings get, now again, I'm not saying Ty is like a like outer worldly left tackle, but the thing that the Vikings game showed me is he could hold his own for a bit.
He started off bad. He started off awful.
Oh yeah, he started off like shit.
But as the game went on, he, like the last drive we had,
he
didn't give it one pressure. I mean, he dominated on the left side.
And that's where I was like, so you got this guy to cut. See, this is where I think that they started getting cute with this lineup because like I think they also panic because they know, okay, we're going up against these really good teams. Let's put everybody around, and it fucked them. And it's like, you really shouldn't have done that. For me, I think that you have Tyron at your left side. Ty is the backup. Left guard, I think you play Connor Williams, or one of the two, like I mentioned, chart. Like you could play either one. I really don't give a shit. I would prefer Williams, but that's just me. Center, you play Tyler Biotish. Right guard, you play Zach Martin. Right tackle, you roll with Steele, and you let Lyle sit on the bench for the bullshit he did. I don't care. Like, and that's the thing is like, for me, Steele has played better than Lyle. I will admit that. The part where it gets me confused is that I don't know I haven't seen a lot of Lyle to evaluate where he is as a player. That's the part that kills me. Is like, okay, is he like 80% of what he once used to be? Is he that guy? We don't know. And so for me, like, I'm just like, I don't care. Like, you can if Steele's proven he could be your guy at right tackle, cool, you got a cheap alternative that you could throw money elsewhere. That's what you're looking for. Then again, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Most fans who want LC back at right tackle, they're going off 2019 version of LC. And my pushback on that every time is that was 2019. We don't know he is still that 2019 version of FC. And in the 3 games that he's played this year, and it's a small sample size, I don't want to judge him on it, but he was not the LC of 2019 in them 3 games. He did not look like that.
He was. It's like the Connor Williams and Connor McGovern thing. Like he hasn't looked exponentially better than Steele to be like, yep, you're good. But
I just don't think this is a time of the year to be full. Still done good all the way up to this point. So I mean, and people's like, well, you got to help still. Well, I don't give a fuck. We were still fucking 6-1, and we were still fucking goddamn scoring 30 points a game. So I don't know how much help was hurting us.
I agree, Dale. Yeah, I agree. Because, like, for me, if this Thursday he looks like, let's just not even, I don't think he's going to look like 2019 Lyle Collins. If he looks like 75 to 80% of that, I'll take that for the rest of the year. Because I think that an 80% Lyle Collins of 2019 is better than Steele as he is right now.
Yeah.
And I would take that going into the playoffs. But the thing is like, this is his chance to get his job back. And if you're the Cowboys, stop fucking with the offensive line. Like, I don't understand that. McCarthy says he's all about continuity. Now here we are just playing musical chairs with our line.
Right.
It's like stop with that, man.
Well, see, that was my point with fucking Williams. They had 10 fucking weeks to replace him.
Right.
And why did you wait 10 weeks to do it? I mean, why? I mean, like, I don't understand why it took you so long to fucking replace Williams with Mack. I mean, personally, I don't think it should have been done. But if you're going to do it earlier in the season. Don't wait till fucking week 10, week 11 to start making dramatic changes in the offensive line.
Right.
But no, Del Prime is 100% correct. This game is going to say it all. This game is going to be he's going to get his job back.
Yeah.
Or when Steele comes back, Steele's going to be the right tackle. This game should judge everything. That's 100% correct on Prime's part.
And this is my whole fear about the whole situation. I don't want to chase ghosts from either of them. So, like, I don't know that Collins is going to give me 80% of what he was.
Mm-hmm.
That and if we want to go that route and see if he does, okay. But my other concern is I don't know if you take Steele off the field, is he going to go back to 2020 Steele when you bring him back? So I don't want to chase 2019 Ghost and then end up getting 2020 Ghost at the right tackle spot. Because Steele is still a young player, undrafted guy. I don't want to mess with that. He's obviously done a lot of work in the offseason to make himself better at right tackle. We saw what happened when they put him at left tackle. He looked like he didn't know where in the hell he was. I don't want to see him get on the bench 2 or 3 games and Collins shows us that he's not capable of being better than Steele before Collins came back. And then we go back to Steele and then Steele's worse. And he's showing us 2020 Steele. That's my only concern. If I felt like Steele is a right tackle and he's going to kind of stay where he is, if you think Collins is the guy, we can go forward. But I would hate to get to week 15 and we find out Steele's not that guy. And then we find out Collins isn't that guy. And then we throw Steele back in and he's reverted right before the playoffs. And now we got 2 tackles who aren't worth a damn. I would rather just keep the guy who's shown me he's doing the job and then hope he can grow. But either way, I mean.
Yeah, if Collins comes out against Jordan and he just dominates, then I have no problem keeping him in. You know, but he's going to have to show me something this game. And I hope I hope he's at least close to what he was, or Jordan's going to wreak havoc over there.
That guy's extremely underrated.
Yeah, no, he's highly underrated. So like I said, we'll see this fucking game, and maybe they'll have to give him some help, just like they had fucking Still for the whole season.
One more real quick, and I know you guys probably got to go. A position we don't talk about a lot, but that tight end position. Sean McEwen has been giving us some quality snaps the past couple weeks, and he's only getting better. And Blake Jarwin should be coming back pretty soon. What do you guys think we do with that position for the rest of this year? And I hate to go to off-season talk, but if McEwen is looking pretty good and we got one guy that's getting a lot of money and one guy who could get a lot of money, where do we go? What do we do with that tight end spot?
McEwen's going to have to show a lot more, but you're right. He has shown, but I don't know I don't really know what's going on, because Schultz has kind of dropped off. I mean, he was averaging around 6 a game.
He was 6 a game.
Well, I'll tell you this. The Giants game, October 10th, he had 6. Since then, Patriots 5, Vikings 2, Broncos 4, Falcons 1, Chiefs 6, Raiders 3. He's kind of, I mean, before that, it was 6, 6, 6, 2, 6. So, I mean, he was pretty much consistent around 6. And he just, since the Patriots game, he's kind of dropped off. So, I don't know if that's a game plan, if that's fucking, or what it is. But he's kind of, our tight end hasn't been playing up to, maybe it's Jarwin being out.
Could be.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know what game Jarwin went out, but it kind of seems like maybe his numbers went down when Jarwin went out. I don't know. I'm not big on. I don't want to spend a lot of money on tight end. At one point, we thought Schultz was going to get a big bag of fucking money. And since he's kind of came back down, it might not be a big bag of money we have to pay him. But yeah, I love Schultz. I mean, if you can keep him for a good price, I'm going to keep him. But if he starts doing what he did, first 5 or 6 games, he's going to get fucking paid. Well, you just saw what fucking Dallas Goedert got from fucking from the Eagles. He got the third highest paid fucking tight end in NFL.
I think he's like 14 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's the third highest paid tight end in the NFL. So if he's getting that, and if Schultz kind of bumps back the last 5 to 6 games and starts coming back, he's going to get a bag of money. I'm not paying Schultz $14 million a year. There's no fucking way. Yeah.
I'm taking a look at his number just because I want. What's funny, Schultz has had a better season than Dallas Goedert. And Dallas Goedert just got that extension. And Goddard's a good tight end, but for me, I'm not paying $14 million to my tight end when really, you got those receivers that you're looking at. And I think that for me, I would rather, if you put a gun in my head and said, Space, would you rather keep Gallup or Schultz? I'm probably looking at Gallup, to be honest with you, because here's the thing. Jarwin's still under contract. Right?
Yeah.
Schultz is going to go somewhere else and get paid bank because his market value is like $12.5 million. I'll get that comp pick. Thank you very much. Right. I could keep McEwen for cheap and get another tight end. And I'm not trying to seem like Schultz is terrible. It's just that I don't value him that high. And I said this like a year or two ago. When Jason Witten left, I'm not asking for some guy to be Travis Kelce. I'm asking for someone to be productive enough to give the tight end position vertical threat, which we have now. We have vertical threat at the tight end position. Schultz has been able to do it. Jarwin has been able to do it. He just hasn't been here. And I want McEwen to do it too because I don't want to lose that ability. I think that the problem also is that the blocking hasn't been good, and Schultz has fucked us a couple of times.
He's bad on that. Yes.
I remember people like, "Oh, he's a good blocking." No, the hell he's not. I'm sorry, but I need if I'm the Cowboys, you need to use as much as you can at Dalton Schultz, or use him as effectively as possible before he goes. Bump up his stock so that you don't have to pay him, because then someone else pays him all that fucking money.
Yeah, my thing with you can only have so many fucking weapons, and we have Cooper. We have Lamb. We have fucking. Well, he might leave too. Gallup's probably going to leave too. So I think at the end of the season, there's going to be a lot of decisions. Schultz is going to be a decision. Gallup's going to be a decision. Wilson's going to be a decision. You have to put in effect that 2 years from now or 1 year from now, at the end of 22, you're going to have to pay Lamb because Lamb's up for the contract at the end of 2022. You're going to have to, and people is going to freak the fuck out when I say this, but you're going to have to make a decision on Murray Cooper too, and how you're going to treat him with his 20 fucking plus million cap hit. I know a lot of people saying, there's one particular guy saying that he thought he's made money the past 2 weeks because he's been out and our offense sucked.
Oh my God.
But at the same time, I don't think our offense sucked. I don't think Cooper was a reason that our offensive line looked like shit. I don't think Cooper is a reason why Wilson, Brown, Gallup, Lamb, everybody was dropping balls. I don't think he's the reason why Dak throws bad balls the past few games. I don't think Cooper. I think it just happened to be Cooper's out and the teams went to shit, but I don't think it's directly related to Cooper.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
But there's going to have to be a decision. There's going to have to be a decision made on Cooper. And I'm not getting political about COVID, but him not being vaccinated and Jerry Jones calling him out in the public about not being vaccinated.
That's bad blood right there.
That's not good for Cooper at the end of the year.
Especially with how things. I agree, they're not his fault. But the problem is how things went. There's that narrative that exists to where you're gonna be like, you really fucked this over, which I don't agree. I think it comes down to the way we called the games. I think it came down to player execution. A lot of things happened. And I don't think here's the thing. and I'll say this too, like you mentioned, Charlie. I don't think Amari Cooper made Dak the guy. He helped, but when you really think about it, right? CeeDee Lamb's in his second year, right? He's still developing as a superstar wide receiver, and it's funny to say that, and he's just doing his thing. I firmly believe that third year, he's going to take that leap to where you're going to have to be like, you may want to get rid of Cooper to, and it's like, I think another thing is we're spoiled with seeing them so much that we're not used to seeing our backups.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got the chance to be like, okay, Brown and Cedric are only good in spurts.
Yep.
They're not good being that second or third guy. So don't give me the bullshit that, well, Dak Prescott can't elevate these guys. Dude, he got his fourth and fifth string wide receivers out there. Got his fourth string guy almost 100 yards. And, like, he's doing his thing with what he can do. You're basically looking with, like, a 2018 pre-Amari offense in terms of receivers. And you just have fucking everything falling to shit, and still he's playing average.
Yeah.
And it's not Amari's fault. If I were the Cowboys, honestly, I would be looking at, okay, well, maybe you should look at a receiver with your second or third pick. And I'm just putting that out into the space now because I think that's going to be a talking point.
Yeah, but like I said before the season started, and I'll say it again, them not restructuring Coop says a lot. That's them saying we're at least going to look at this shit at the end of the year and see where we're at. All right, because it was real easy to restructure his contract. They could have got $14 million off his fucking contract for cap space, and they did it. They decided to do Collins, they decided to do fucking Martin, and they decided to do Smith. All right, then they decided to, hey, you know what? Let's do Zeke's too. Oh, you know what? Let's do Dak. You know, the guy that hasn't even played a down on his new contract. At least we fucking structured his before we even let him play a down on his contract. All the time they could have got $14 million off Cooper. I don't care what anybody says. That says something. That's at least saying the Cowboys are taking in consideration what we're going to do at the end of the year. But as far as what Cooper did, I don't think did we miss him? Sure. He's a fucking great receiver. You're going to miss him. But like I said, I think there's a lot more goes into the last two games with him being out than that. I think our play calling, I think that had a lot to do with it. Maybe they established the run last game because Cooper was out, you know, and Lamb was out. Maybe they thought, okay, we got to run the ball since our top two guys are out. And that didn't work well. And you saw when they finally said, fuck it, let's start passing. Dak can fucking do okay with his other guys too if you just let him. But I think there was a lot more reasons why we didn't look good on the offense the past two games than just strictly because of Cooper. Like I said, he had nothing to do with the offensive line, and our offensive line looked like shit the past two games.
And I say it again, like I said earlier, this is coming from the guy that's one of Dak's biggest supporters. He didn't look particularly well, as we're used to seeing. The offensive line did not play well at all. Receivers dropping the balls, like that had nothing to do with Cooper being out there. And yet they still put up, well, then again, they put up 26 points. You don't count the kick return. But point being, they put up points without him. And I think that they could have put up more if they didn't get their heads out of their asses too late, you know?
Yep.
And that's true there, Del. Like, and I think none of us here are saying that Cooper doesn't provide some form of element to this team that we sorely miss. It's more so that I think we underrated Cooper's abilities and overrated our backups. That's what I've been seeing a lot of with people.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, no, he does. I mean, any great wide receiver is going to, I mean, Lamb helps Cooper. You know, Cooper helps Lamb. Gallup helps Lamb. Lamb helps Gallup. I mean, they all help each other. But I just don't think Cooper being out was the main reason, or even really at the top of the reasons why everything went to shit. And like Space said earlier, even with Cooper being out, the receivers was still getting open. Dak still threw for 300 plus yards. You had two receivers at 100 or over 100 yards, and that was our fourth and fifth wide receivers. So I mean, we still produced in the passing game, and and like I said after the game, we waited too late. We waited to the fourth quarter to say, hey, how about we stop trying to establish the run and running so much on early downs, and how about we start fucking passing more? And we did, and we started scoring. It just, you know, and like I said, maybe Cooper and Lamb being out was the reason why we wanted to establish a run. Maybe they thought, okay, we're down 2 wide receivers. Let's let the run game win us this game. And I'll go back and I'll say it every time. It's a dumb fucking philosophy. You do not fucking try to establish a run. You do not have to establish a run in NFL in 2021. You can win ball games without establishing a run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I got one more question. It's a defensive question. It's probably going to be a short answer from both of you guys. But I got to throw a defensive question out there. J-Ron Curse has really been balling for us the past, all year, really. But the past 4 weeks, he's really been kind of taking it to another level. Now, we don't normally sign guys during the season. But is this a guy you guys think we should try to go ahead and lock up before the season's over so we don't have to deal with any competition during the offseason? Because we do have some money to sign a guy if we needed to, and the deal wouldn't be that big.
I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't. I mean, if you can get him for a decent contract, and he, especially with him coming off injury and only having a 1-year deal, he might be willing to sign something long term.
Yeah.
If you get him to come in and take something, I'd be okay with that. I just don't want us overpaying. I just don't want to see us doing a Janet Smith top contract.
Yeah.
And I'll go to Lyon Collins. When we signed him in 2019, I was like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Right.
Now he ended up playing great in 2019, but he hasn't done shit since then. And I didn't like the contract when we gave him one. I'd rather have paid him after the 2019 season. But yeah, no, if he's willing to sign a fair one, a good one, good for both parties. Yeah, most definitely. No, don't let him get open market. But also, man, and I'm not one of the ones that think everybody wants to play for the Cowboys, because that's not who we are anymore. But I do think this team is close, and I do think he likes it here. All players like it in Dallas because of the weather, no state taxes, all that bullshit. But I do think he likes it. So I think if you let him wait till the end of the year, I think we still have the lead on that. I think somebody would have to come in and just come way over the top with some ridiculous money for him to fucking leave Cowboys. I think we can get him in.
I agree. I mean, listen, it's funny. I said I didn't because my channel's been down. I was gonna make a video talking about how J-Ron Curse is how what I thought Keanu Neal was going to be doing. Like he's doing exactly what Keanu Neal was supposed to do. So for me, I was like, Keanu Neal's probably one of those guys you're maybe looking at bringing back if he plays well. That's before the season started, by the way.
Right.
I want him back, but like Charlie said, I do not want to overpay for him. If he comes back on a cheap contract, I'll take it, but nothing more than that.
Yeah, we got a little bit of money. We got
what's the number you guys thinking? $4 million a year?
Like $5 million.
I would say we have $4.3 million as cap space right now.
Okay.
So we could get him because his cap hit this year would be minimum. I don't know what would be a good price for him, Marcus.
I mean, he is a strong safety too, so that mark is always extremely low.
Yeah, it would be hard for me to take a guess at that.
Okay. I would say if you do a 2 to 3 year contract where it's the first year's guaranteed and it's like a $3 to $4 million cap hit, I'll take that because of the impact he brings to the team. But I'm just trying to be real with myself because I know you're not going to get him for $1 to $2 million. Absolutely the fuck not.
Yeah.
I think his market's more like 3 to 4, and considering that the cap is going to explode, you're going to afford that. So
yeah, we're $12 million over the cap right now for next year, but that's going to change.
Yeah,
Dak's contract would be restructured, and that would free up fucking $20 million, $30 million, some bullshit like that.
Right.
Anything
that's under $20 million over, I know it's kind of contradictory. If you're less than $20 million over the cap, you're pretty much under the cap.
Yeah, right.
Oh, don't get me started on fucking
one move, that's just one pin move. You can get under the cap with that.
Yeah, right. The cap hill. Oh, fuck that. I'll go on my rant. The cap hill is real. Fucking people, if you're listening, it's not fucking real. The cap is real, but the cap hill myth, it's not real. The New Orleans Saints was $95 fucking million over the cap.
Oh my god.
Yep.
The fucking Philadelphia Eagles was $65 million over the cap, or maybe that was reversed. One of them was 65.
No. You're right. You're right.
Okay. Now tell me, in offseason, everybody was talking about, oh, we need to pick this guy up because they're going to have to cut him. Not one significant fucking player for each team was cut. People say, well, Carson Wentz, well, they fucking traded him away and actually took a cap hit to get him the fuck off their cap. Yep. So I don't count that. They both got under the cap, clearly under the cap, without cutting no significant players on their team. On top of that, the fucking the Eagles just went out and gave a big fucking dumb contract to a tight end. This is less than a year after being $95 million over the cap.
I think the Saints signed that corner.
In the corner, yes.
They gave like Taysom Hill some bullshit contract too.
The worst deal in NFL history.
That motherfucker, like knowing our luck, he's gonna look like goddamn Tom Brady or Lamar Jackson on fucking Thursday. But
that's what I'm saying. I mean, they $95 million over and $65 million, and all the cap people. And I love Jeff Kavanaugh. He's one of my favorites, but he's a Cap Hill is real thing. Cap Hill is real, and I'm like, and it took a once in a lifetime fucking pandemic to lower the cap,
right?
To fuck the cap all up and to put two teams, 65 million, 95 million, or for them guys to clap their hands like I told you, Cap Hill is real. And what the fuck did they do?
That's not even
both teams got underneath the cap without cutting one significant player. They all kept their players, and they still was able to get underneath the cap. And fucking the Eagles are now, not even 6 months afterwards, are signing players to dumb contracts.
Right.
And then somebody brought up the Rams. Yeah, look at the Rams. They have no problem. They're constantly just throwing their fucking money out, and then they don't like it after a year. The Rams cut players while they still have guarantees left on their contract, which actually takes cap away from you.
Yeah,
and they're still fine.
Didn't they eat like $8 million to get rid of Goff?
Yeah, they ate $8 million. They ate some money to get rid of fucking the running back numbnuts that ended up in Atlanta. I don't know where he's at now, but fucking yeah, they got rid of him. Yeah, they would sign guys, and a year after they sign them, they'd cut them, and that's what guaranteed money left on their contract, which actually goes against the cap. You don't save money; you actually lose cap space.
Here's the thing, too.
You're right. If you're fucking 10 million under, 20 million under, 30 million under, it's not a fucking problem. You can easily get underneath the cap and fucking move on and not have to cut no significant players. Like I said, many people was fucking waiting for the Saints and the Philadelphia Eagles to cut all these players. People was talking about the Cowboys getting Cox because they can't keep them. People was talking about the guy, the cornerback that plays for the Saints. What's his name? Malcolm
Lattimore. Marcus.
Lattimore. Oh, they're going to have to cut him. We need to try to pick him up. They didn't lose no players on their team. None. They kept all their significant players that meant something to them. Like I said, the cap hill is a myth. The cap is real, but it's very, very, very easy to manipulate it.
Yeah, and I'll say this to add on to it. The only time there's salary cap hell is when your dumbass team and front office puts you in it. What I mean by that is when you have people that are like, well, we got no cap space, but you refuse to restructure contracts. You sign stupid-ass contracts to players that don't deserve them, and you can't restructure them to the point where they're helping you. It has to be, such an absurdity to where, it can't be done. That's why I think it's a myth. I think it can be a thing if you put the right parameters, but it's so out of bizarro world where you need that to happen. Here's the thing, right? And I hate this shit so much with Stephen Jones. He wants to pull this bullshit about the cap. Dude, the only reason you're saying this shit is because you have this dumb fucking idea that the cap is we can't do. It's you have ways to go around it, but he refuses to do it because he thinks insert reason here. And I'm about to get going because I got to get going, but I'm going to finish up on this. Salary cap hell is bullshit. Don't let anyone tell you the otherwise. The problem is that we have a fan base that thinks Stephen Jones is some god, but in reality, he's just I could argue he's almost worse than his father, but we'll get down to that. And that's what and that's what I'm worried about is like, I don't want a guy where he's gun shy to sign fucking players. Don't do that bullshit with me because we've done it. Here's the problem. Like, I would rather you be over aggressive and shit not work out than not make any chances. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. There were so many chances for that. And they're lucky that the Cowboys defense kind of did their thing this year. Because I was like, they should have gone after a guy like Dalvin Tomlinson. They should have gone after some other guys. And I'm not saying to go sign every fucking player. Just sign the key guys. They could have done that. They didn't because they feel like, okay, let's go get these bargain basement guys from Dollar fucking General. And you're lucky. And then the problem is they work out and then they have this facade in their mind that these guys like, oh, see, bargain basement shopping does work. No, it works when you have a fucking guy at DC that knows what the fuck he's doing and he gets the players that he feels fits his system.
Yep.
Yeah, I've always said that it's not you kind of hit on it. To me, I've always said it's not the contract that you give out that can fuck your cap up. It's the player you give it to.
Correct.
Right?
Exactly.
Because like the Jalen Smith contract, the money-wise didn't fuck our cap. What fucked us is it was a bad contract.
Right.
The Zeke contract, it didn't fuck our cap, but you're paying a running back, and it's just not a smart way to spend your fucking dollars. But it didn't fuck our cap up. I mean, we was fine. I mean, it didn't screw us, you know. So, but to give you an example, next year, now the Saints they're 61 million over next year. So they're going to have issues again. They've got to cut a lot of players, or cut players that's not significant and try to get underneath the cap. But 1 year after fucking Eagles was 95 million, 95 million over, they got more cap space next year than we do. They got $14 million of cap space. We're 12 million over. So like I said, don't blame the cap. The cap is real. Don't believe there's only so much pie. If they want a player, if any team wants a player, they can fucking create the cap space to get it. Yep. And the cap hell is a myth. You can be 30 million over and you're fine. We're 12 million over next year. One signature of Dak's name. Actually, don't have to have the signature because he has built-in restructures in his contract anyways. The team don't even have to ask him. All they got to do is put it in and it gets restructured. One fucking restructure, we're fine with the cap. Everything's fine.
Right.
People freak out way too much about the cap.
I would rather listen. If Stephen Jones was a guy where he takes one shot and gets one premier guy that we need, and that's all we get, I'm cool with that. Like if he wants to do this build in the draft stuff, and it's one guy that's a key player, or maybe another guy, I would live with that. The part that pisses me off is he does the bargain basement bullshit. We're getting 5 guys that we know are just going to be camp bodies, or we're lucky they make an impact. That's it. Like that's what gets on my goddamn nerve, man.
Yeah. Throw the crap at the wall and see what sticks. Method.
Pretty much.
Yep.
All right, fuckers. We've been on for 2 hours. I was supposed to do a 15-minute video. I ended up doing a 2-hour show.
Hey, listen, man. This shit gets fun, so.
It does.
All right. Well, Space, you got to go?
I got to get going, man. I got
all right, bud. Well, nice having you on.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
Let everybody know where they can find you at.
Yeah, so still have the strikes on my channel, and even though I got a weird, freaky email saying that they're going to be taken off, but I don't know. I might upload a couple videos to test the waters. I don't know. You can find me at Space Cowboy 17 on YouTube or S Cowboy 17 on Twitter. Thank you guys so much. And again, don't feed into the bullshit. Just do basic research, and you'll find the answers. That's what I'll leave you guys with today. Don't fall into the trap if you get one fucking thing that just sends you off rails. Just do a bit of research. And I'll leave you with this because I was talking to Charlie about it. I wanted to mention it. I almost forgot. What was it? Calvin Watkins' article on Dak Prescott, right? If you read the article, it's the same fucking things we were talking about here, but he has the headline that he can't do it by himself. Like, oh, he's not elite because he can't do it. No, it's because he can't do things because everything's fucked around him and he's not doing himself a service at some points in time. So just do like a quick little read and you'll get some information for you. But I'm going to leave you guys with that. I'll catch you guys later.
All right, buddy. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yep.
Always a pleasure.
All right, Marcus. You want to get out of here?
Yeah, that was pretty much all I had. I was trying to think of something else we can go through. Off the top of my head, I don't have anything.
Well, like I said, the whole point of me doing this was about the refs. I mean, hell,
Yeah.
I was because I just got tired of hearing the fans bitch about the refs, and I mean, like, Jesus Christ, y'all. It's y'all highly overreacting to the refs. We got people saying that coaches and players lose their jobs because of bad calls, which is 100% fucking false. And then they'll tell you, well, that's what analysts say, and I'll tell them I don't give a fuck what the analysts say. If an analyst on TV is saying that that's true, that means they're on TV because they lost their job because they're dipshits. If they fired somebody because of a bad call,
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think we overreact the penalties, and I'm not worried about the East. I think we got the East. That was my main two reasons I was going to do this.
And I'll say this, and we could talk about kicker real quick, but let me say this one about the defense. I think it's more concerning, and I said this before, the penalties aren't the most concerning part. The most concerning part is this is a team that just lost their number one weapon in Darren Waller at halftime. That's pretty much their entire underneath game. And our coaches did not make an adjustment to take care of the deep game and just work this team. Like, they lost Waller. They had no real weapons to be concerned about outside of Renfro. But Waller was gone. Why are we not scheming for deep passes? He was really their only real deep threat. And D-Jack's got a couple of good plays, but we could have schemed for that. They had no other weapons to be concerned about. That's what bothers me about this game.
Yeah, I thought this was probably the worst coaching job all year. I thought from the defense coordinator to the offense coordinator to the head coach, I thought being passive on fourth downs, we didn't go for 1 4th down that whole fucking game.
Probably the first time all year.
Yeah, we was passive on fourth downs. We was trying to establish a run. And I don't know what's up with Moore and what's caused this the past 2 games, but his route concepts are becoming a bunch of curl routes. And you know how I feel about curl routes. And I said the past 2 games, he looked like he's broke out Jason Garrett's playbook the past 2 games. It's because when you see the replay of it, or if you can watch all 22, but if you see the replay of it, so many times you see everybody just running down 5 yards and turning around.
Yep.
And I'm like, what in the fuck are we doing here, man? Why are we doing this? What this is Jason Garrett's bullshit, and what I bitched about for the 10 to 13 years he was here. Even as OC, I bitched about his route concepts. So I don't really know what's up. It's almost like fucking Moore is, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's almost like having Cooper out changes his whole philosophy of everything on offense. And I understand Cooper's good, but if you let one player change your whole route concepts and your whole scheme, then you have issues.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't change it that much. But yeah, it's weird.
So what do you think about the kicker situation?
Fuck. I don't know, man. I just
he's Bones' guy. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
like,
I hate to be
that sums it up to me.
Yeah, he's a fucking kicker. It's just like I'm not even. I mean, I know he's missed some bad ones and shit, but he's hit some good ones, like game-winning ones and shit. It's like I don't know. It's just I like the 59-yard field goal.
Mm-hmm.
That he messed up there. I ain't putting that shit on him. If you're going for a 59-yard field goal, you're fucking weak. You need to do one of 2 things there. You need to fucking go for it or punt the ball and pin them back. I'm not going unless it's the last play of the game.
Yeah,
and you got to have a 59-yard field goal to win. 4th down, it's either 59-yard field goal or you lose the game. Then yeah, but I'm just not big on fucking going for fucking 59-yard. Anything over 55 is just kind of like, And if they make it, great.
It's less than a coin flip.
Yeah, it's just kind of like I don't care if they make it or not. It's like fuck it. If they make it, that's great. But if they don't, I'm not going to put it on the kicker. I just don't worry about it. But he has missed extra points and he has missed shorter ones. So
yeah,
but I'm with you. He's Bones' guy, and I just can't see anything fucking changing. And my thing is who are we going to sign?
That's
true.
I
mean, that young kid that you can't pronounce his name, that's great. But I mean, do we even know what he is? I mean, nobody even know if he can kick or not. I mean, there's a kicking problem in the NFL. So
definitely,
it ain't like there's just a bunch of good ones on the market. You can just come in like, hey, there's a reason they're on the market in the league that needs kickers because they're not very good either. So I don't know.
Right. Give you an example. Mason Crosby for Green Bay, one of probably the best kickers of all time. He's had a lot of problems with extra points, like a lot of them. I think he missed like four games in a row. He missed the extra point, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, hell, like Cincinnati, he missed like 3 or 4 fucking field goals, extra points, and all kinds of shit. Like I said, there is a kicking problem in the NFL. So if you have a kicking problem, and I don't think we have a bad one, but if you have a bad one, or if you just have a little one like we do, and you bring somebody in, don't get your hopes up, because there's a kicking problem, and there's a reason these guys are on the open market in the fucking bad league, in the bad kicking league, I should say.
And they moved the extra point back for a reason, and this is the reason why. It's not automatic.
Yeah, it's not automatic, and I kind of like it. I mean, it sucks when we miss it, but I kind of like it. I didn't mind it. I mean, because I think they was making like 98 or 99% from the 2-yard line or whatever it was. But yeah, no, it's a kicker. I'm not going to really fucking. I don't know. I mean, he would have to be like really fucking bad before you hear me get on social media or on here and say, "Fuck it, we got to get a new kicker." You know, I mean, I'll tell you this: no matter who's our fucking kicker, I'm shitting my pants every time they go to kick.
Right.
Every time. Every extra point, every fucking field goal, I'm just sitting there like, come on, God, just do me a favor, let him make this one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm doing it every time. I don't give a shit who the kicker is unless it's fucking Tuck from Ravens. And hell, he's even fucking missed a few this year that wasn't likely for him to miss in a pass. So yeah, there's not a lot of good ones in the NFL. So
I think Nick Folk is the leading the NFL in points for the year, and he's been highly erratic for the Patriots.
Yeah,
I think he may have lost on one of their games, actually missing a couple field goals.
But I would say this about the kicker, or Bones or Hoover's doing it: kick it out of the fucking end zone every fucking time. Yeah. I'm tired of this shit. We're not, for whatever reason, we're really not that good on kickoff team. I don't know why. I don't have any input into that, but every time we try to get fucking cute and kick it short to get down there and tackle them inside of 25, it never fucking works. They always get it past the 25. So stop trying to be fucking cute and just kick it out of the end zone every time. You know, make them go from the 25 every time. I don't understand why they do that.
Yeah. You know? And for the people watching, Charlie and I, neither one of us are saying Greg Zuerlein's the guy and he's our guy and we got to keep him here. We're just saying there's not a lot of better options out there, and kickers miss kicks.
Yeah, there's not a lot of alternatives. If there was an alternative out there, I'd be great.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And I'll tell you this. If he goes out and misses a couple against the Saints and we cut him the next day, I won't be mad. I won't be coming over like, what the fuck are we doing? Right. You know, but if he misses a couple and we don't cut him, I won't come over like, what the fuck are we doing? It's just like, hey, do what you want to at fucking kicker. It's not going to really move the needle much for me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really worry about him too much.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I'm sorry, go ahead, Charlie.
But other day, fucking Raiders kicked off short to us in overtime. And fucking pinned us back, plus the penalty. But even if they really got that penalty, we still would have had it at the 10-yard line.
Yep.
If we can do that, get cute and do that every once in a while. We don't do that. We kick it short, and them fuckers get it to at least a 25, if not further. And it irritates the shit out of me. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna close it out with the kicker talk with this one. As long as we have Zuerlein, we're gonna attempt 50+ yard kicks. If we get rid of Zuerlein, you can pretty much throw that out the window, especially 55 yards and over. They're not going to chance it with any other kicker that we bring in. So Zuerlein may be a coin flip or less, 56, 57, 58 yards. But any other kicker, we're not going to even know because they're not going to do it.
Well, if that's the case, then maybe I want a new kicker then. Because that means they won't be they'll be going for it before they're not fucking kicking the guy. And I will say this: when we had that other kicker in there, if you remember, we went for it a shitload of 4 downs.
Exactly. That was my point.
Yeah, maybe that's what. Well, then you know what, Marcus? I changed my mind. Fucking cut Zuerlein. I want him fuck out of it just so I can go for it more and 4 fucking downs. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I don't think there's any really bad 4th down to go for it on. You know, maybe a few. But like if you're around the 50-yard line, if it's 4th and 5 or below, I'm going for it. Because if you try a fucking field goal from there and you don't make it, which half the time you want, you're giving them even better field position than if you went for it. Because they get it from where you kick it at. So I don't know. I don't even like talking about kickers, but fucking yeah, I don't know. Whatever they want to do. I just wish we'd go for it more on 4th down. And I know people's like, what the fuck? We go for it 4th down all the time, but not as much as I want to, and damn sure not. Like I said, that last game, man. Everything about that game was bad. The adjustments on fucking defense was bad. The start to finish on offense was bad. Play calling, the decision making by Mike McCarthy, and a guy I defend all the time. I thought he was bad. I just thought everything was fucking bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only embarrassing loss that we had so far to me was a Kansas City loss. The Raiders loss wasn't embarrassing because of people we was down that game. Starting wide receivers was out, both starting defensive ends was out, blah, 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 blah. But the Kansas City game was just kind of, I don't know, something about that game. I was just like, that's embarrassing. All the other games, I'm just shrugging my shoulders like, yeah, fuck it. It is what it is.
Yeah, hell, I had us losing to Atlanta. So,
yeah.
Denver's not that surprising to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Denver was one of them washed away games because, we're clearly a better team than them. So when a team that we're clearly better than them beats us, I can just watch that off as, it's just one of them fucking games, shit happens. But in the Kansas City game, there's no excuses for us to lose like that. I know Cooper was out and Leon went out at halftime, but even before fucking Leon went out, he wasn't looking good. Like I said, we just been in the funk, dude. And there's sometimes all the content creators and all the fucking fans, and that's including me and Marcus too, we'll try to explain it, but sometimes, man, I just can't explain it. Sometimes I just I don't know. It's just a funk. I can't explain it. I can give you insights, like trying to establish run, I think is bad. I think that hurt us. Injuries hurt us. That's another thing. I think we had so many injuries there for like a 5-week period, 6-week period, and we was winning them games. And I think fans, including myself, everybody, I think we kind of got confident, like, oh, look at this. This team's different. We all have all these injuries and we can still win. And I think eventually them injuries kind of catch up to you. You just kind of, you keep getting them. They keep piling on. You playing better teams. And it's just like, hey, you can only do so much with fucking injured players. And eventually you're going to have to eventually get healthy. I've never seen a fucking Super Bowl winning team that went in with a shitload of injuries. Most of them was pretty much on par with where they're supposed to be. Everybody's going to have one or two injuries, but
yeah,
you saw Kansas City Chiefs last year. Both left tackle, right tackle went out, and they look like pure fucking shit. Even this year they haven't looked like they have in the past because they have some injuries and some not good play by younger guys, and it's just that's why I defend that when people say, "Oh, he can't do it on his own." Well, fucking no quarterback in the history of fucking football has ever did on their own. Tom Brady was a couple of his teams would be the best example, but he even had weapons. And if he didn't have a lot of weapons, he had a good defense that held him down.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers, that's everybody's fucking hero. He won one Super Bowl. That one Super Bowl was one where he had the number one defense in the NFL. The number one scoring defense and the number one total yards defense. I'm pretty sure they was up there in other EPA, DVOA too. But he had a great fucking defense. And mind you, he had a bunch of good wide receivers too. So they all need help.
Yep.
Nobody can do it completely on their fucking own.
All right. Last question, real quick, and I know you'll probably talk about this too with Riker. Got a bunch of coaches out with COVID. Do you think that should be a major concern going into the game? Particularly since a lot of them are offensive coaches.
Yeah, it can be. And preparation and shit. You like to think players, at this age and shit, they know what the fuck to do. But I think people sometimes highly underestimate how much coaching is important in the NFL.
They do.
Now, don't get me wrong. I still say, I will say Pee Wee, but we're not counting Pee Wee. I'll still say high school football coaches are the most important ones because of development and because unless you're in a big school like a 5A school, 6A school in Texas, that's like big fucking schools. You have a bunch of kids every year to come play. So you're going to have big guys every year. But like my son's school, you have to adjust. He's in a little 3A school. So they had to adjust. My son made varsity in 2018. But in 2017, when he was on JV, their varsity team didn't have a fucking defensive tackle or defensive lineman, period, over 220 pounds. All right. But the year before that, 3 years before that, they had 2 defensive tackles that weighed 300 plus pounds.
Yep.
All right. Well, they had a defense. They ran with them 2 defensive tackles. Well, when they lost them defensive tackles, they were still trying to run that same defense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can't do it. Because like when my son made varsity, he wasn't allowed to shoot gaps. He's a 185-pound defensive tackle. They wanted him to take on double teams, hold them motherfuckers up to free up the linebackers. And I'm like, hey, fuckers, he ain't doing it. Right. There's other 220-pound defense tackle, which was strong as fuck. He benched like 455, squatted 600. Fuck, he was limited too. I mean, he was only 220 pounds. And finally, his senior year is when they started going more towards a one-gap system. And I'm like, well, finally, y'all fucking doing something smart. But anyways, coaching in the NFL, it's important. You know, the preparation and shit like that. I know when we lost Callahan after the 2014 season, I said, I think that's going to be a big loss. I said, I think that he's a great offensive line coach. And not trying to call out Eric, but just since I talked to him mostly, he's telling me, oh, fuck that. We got the best O-line. That ain't that important. And to be honest with you, we never was the same after Callahan left. In 2015, we wasn't as good. 2016, we was good, but not like we was when Callahan was here. 2017, you miss guys like that. Callahan went to Washington, didn't really have nobody. Turned him in one of the better offensive lines in fucking football. So it is important. It is important. How important is up to each individual. Who all we got out? I know it's a couple of strength and conditioning coaches, right?
Yeah. And Philbin's out too. I think that's probably the biggest one.
Yeah, he was out last game too.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that one, yes. Preparation and shit. Because Philbin's done good, dude. I've been impressed with him last year. I mean, he had rags last year and made rags look at least average at some points.
The assistant O-line coach is also out. The offensive assistant Scott Tozine is out. Strength and conditioning coach is also out, and the strength and conditioning assistants are out.
I heard Martin. I seen Martin today say the tight ends coach or the assistant tight ends coach is actually coaching the offensive line.
Okay. The tight end coach, he has an offensive line background from LSU.
And that's who it is. It's somebody with the offensive line background.
Yeah, he's from LSU. And he did a good job at LSU.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, it can.
He's not Philbin.
Yeah, he's not filming. So it can hurt. You know, like I said, you like to think players at this point can overcome that. But you know, hey, yeah, I'll be dumb to say it doesn't affect us at all. Yeah. Definitely, I think having that many coaches out can continuity, the same voice every week. You know, just you know what he sees on film and he can correct. The other guy might not see. Right. You know, on film and correct. So it's definitely an issue.
Yeah, what he sees, he can't see what's on the field during practice.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, it won't affect it that much. What do you think about this game coming up?
You know what? It's hard to get a read on the Saints offense because
you don't know who's going quarterback. You don't know what
you don't know who's going to be a running back. You don't know what kind of system they're going to run because they haven't had Kamara for what, 3 games?
Yep, and Ingram missed last game, didn't he?
Ingram missed last game. So you have no idea what this offense is going to be. This is going to be the first week where they have their full offense. They just paid the guy the big money. You don't know if they're going to try to integrate him into the scheme now, quarterback, or stick with Simeon. Yeah. So offensively, you just don't know. But defensively, our O-line has to get it together because this is probably everybody knows Cameron Jordan's name, and then it's just a bunch of other guys for just regular fans. But those no-name guys are playing with a lot of heart, and they know how to close gaps and play off of each other.
I got a quick question for you. See if you can understand what happened the other day. Okay. What the fuck was Tyron Smith doing? Do you remember that play?
I do remember the play
where he looked and then he just turned and fucking smacked into fucking Connor. I'm like, what the fuck was even going on there?
Going back and looking at the play, and I could be 100% wrong. I'm just going off of what I would have done in that situation. If you go back and watch the play, it looked like they were faking a screen on the right side to kind of freeze the corners, and then they were going to try to go deep with the tight end, I believe, or they were faking it. They were faking a screen on the right side. Me trying to being a former lineman, my thought is Tyron may have heard the play wrong, and he thought the screen was coming on his side. Because if you look, he didn't block. It was like stand there, and then like he was trying to turn to go for a screen, and he ran right into his guy. So that, and just like Dale Prime said, I think Tyron heard the play wrong on the screenplay, and that's why he didn't even touch him. But you just don't know, because there was a screen being set up on the other side.
Yeah, because I was like, holy shit, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was my thought. Maybe it was a screenplay, but even when I looked at it, I'm like, fuck, that just looked, I mean, it looked fucking poor Conor McGovern. He was like, hey, man, what the fuck you doing? It's like, you're fucking blocking me. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that was weird. That was
short week. He didn't play.
You said in the chat that goes to show when you not a lot of practice time.
Exactly.
He hasn't been out there and shit like that. And like I said, even the best make mistakes.
Right.
Yeah, I probably had a brain fart. Yeah.
And then you go back to the Zach Martin play where he just completely left the guy unblocked. I think it was the defensive tackle.
Yep.
That play looked like, because the play was a toss play to the left. And just from playing offensive line, it looked to me like Steele may have read it wrong. And Steele was supposed to block the D tackle. The end was supposed to be free because they felt like he couldn't make the
run him.
Yeah. So it looked to me like everything was supposed to flow to the left. This guy's going to block himself because he can't make the play. And Steele blocked him instead of blocking the tackle.
Yeah, that's what that one looked like to me. When I saw it, I'm pretty sure that's on Steele. Now, like we said, we could be wrong. It could have been something else, but that would make sense. Because a lot of times they'll leave that backside fucking end, free because they don't think they can run him down, run the running back down. So yeah, that was. But yeah, there was a few of them, man. There was a few clusterfucks on there that looked like everybody was confused. Well, that's another thing. Philbin was out last week.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm not blaming it on that. Maybe it would have done it even if Philbin would have been there. But that's some things you got to look at. Like, was that a Philbin thing? Would he have corrected that, or who knows, man? All I know is I want to get healthy, and they need to fucking cut this COVID shit out.
Yeah.
They need to. I mean, I know it's after Thanksgiving. Maybe that's what's caused some of it. Everybody. Which Thanksgiving was only a few days ago. All this shit's happening. Some of it happened before Thanksgiving, but yeah, they need to start being careful because I don't want to get in the fucking playoffs and have some kind of fucking COVID outbreak. And fucking Dak needs a fucking wear 10 fucking mask at all fucking time.
Right.
Don't leave his house or wear 10 fucking masks.
Right. Do a VR simulator or something.
Yeah, put a face shield on, fucking put a goddamn respirator. I don't give a shit, but he don't need to be getting fucking COVID. But yeah, I'm afraid it's going to fucking affect us at some point. But hopefully it won't. It's weird how all the coaches got it, I guess, from meetings and shit after fucking practice and shit. And
yeah,
that so many coaches got it, not as many players got it. I'd figure more players would have got it.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, we've had the most players on the COVID list. I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know we had the most. I don't know why that is, but they need to fucking goddamn cut the shit out. Do some social distancing or something.
All right, yeah. Well, that's pretty much all I got, Charlie. I think it's going to be a good game. I really don't know how it's going to go.
I think I'm making picks. I don't even have a score yet. I'm sure Rika's going to do one tomorrow on her show, so I'll do it there. But even if I wanted to do one right now, I couldn't do one. I
couldn't either.
I have no clue. I'm going to have to think about it for a couple of days before I fucking even.
Yeah, I need to know where Dak. I need to know where Zeke is. I need to know where our wide receivers are.
Yeah, I need to know who we're going to fucking have. Who's going to be available. I need to know who they're going to have available. Is Kamara coming back? Is fucking Ingram coming back? Who's going to be their quarterback? There's so much shit that's out there. Thanks, Dale Prime.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, buddy. Man, me and you fuck each other every time on that, dude.
I got to talk that.
And it's almost like when we do it, we wait. It's like, okay, I'll let him do it.
Yep,
okay, I'll let him do it. So we wait a few seconds. We're like, okay, he ain't going to do it. I'll do it. And we'd fucking do it again every time.
Anytime, yep.
All right, bro. You can let
all right, guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Definitely appreciate it. Make sure you go check out Charlie. You guys are still Tuesday, right? Or you changed to Monday?
No. We're doing Tuesday.
Yeah. So check out Charlie and Rika on Tuesday on Rika Moves the Chain channel. And then
Hey,
check
you gonna be on there, dummy?
That's not this week, is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was December 7th.
No, that's when she does the girl show.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys will see me again with Charlie and Rika on Tuesday. Rika Moves the Chains. And Lambo says he'll be back this week. So hopefully you'll see Lambo and myself on the Cowboys on Wednesday. If Lambo doesn't come back, I may not do a show because we're probably going to talk about everything on Tuesday that I will talk about on Wednesday. So be sure to definitely tune in this Tuesday. We'll all be there. And check up on us on Wednesday, and we may do some stuff also.
All right, y'all can find me at Dallas Cowboys Uncensored everywhere: Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I'll close it out with this: stop overreacting to the fucking refs. Stop overreacting to the bad calls. Dallas Cowboys are not exclusive to bad calls; they happen to all teams. You got to overcome them. I'm 48 years old. I've been watching football with the eyes I watch now for 31 years, and I've never seen a year where I didn't complain about the refs. They are who they are. They're human. They're going to make mistakes. And what we call bad calls or action penalties are just ticky-tack ones. So calm the fuck down and stop saying stupid shit like fucking people lost their jobs over this. Nobody's ever lost their jobs over a bad call.
Yep.
And y'all be good. Delooney Tech, we'll see you Tuesday, man. We'll do your giveaway. Y'all be safe. Mendoza, thanks for coming in. Thank everybody for coming in. There's a lot of Stephen White, Del Prime. That's pretty much the ones that was there. Rika, thank you. And that's it. Y'all be good, man. See y'all later.
Thanks.